All right. Fantastic. I think we're live. Yeah, I do. I think we are live. Hello, folks. Rod Thunderheart is going to be joining us here momentarily. I have sent you the link, Rod. Just check your DMs. So yeah, just finished with the Doomcock stream. That was fun. Hopefully the volume is good, not too loud. Hello and welcome, Suzanne Eckstein. Hello and welcome to you. Yeah, and we have hi Taylor Swift, greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU, and Doctor Who, otherwise known as Matt G. Hello, Matt G. Let's, yeah, there we go. I'll just adjust that a bit. Hi, welcome. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Rod Thunderheart is just going to be joining me here in a moment. And yeah, hello. Yeah, and we're going to be talking about, I think we're going to be talking about some Cuba tonight. I'm pretty sure. If I can, oh, hey, look who it is. Hi, Rod.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. You are a giant nipple.
Have you? I tried to change it.
No.
Nice.
And hello, Carla Burton. Hello, and welcome to you. Oh, there you are. Now we can see you. And hello, Suzanne Eckstein was in here. So glad to see you in here, Suzanne Eckstein. Glad to
Sorry, but it's got
Matt G.
my latest son. He's I don't know, he's horny and I don't know.
Yeah, that'll happen to sons.
Yeah.
Hello, Carla Burton. Hi, welcome to you. And so yeah, just saying, I was just saying we could talk a little bit about Cuba. I've got some photos from Cuba from a little while ago. We could certainly do that. I was just talking to Rod in the private chat just before the stream about places that would be cheaper to live than Canada and warmer, because since I was a boy, since I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15, working out in the cold and shoveling snow all my life, I've been wanting to live somewhere warmer,
Me
man.
too. Yeah.
And not have to own, like, do you know how much could you reduce your wardrobe if you didn't have to worry about warm clothes, like by half?
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
Get rid of all the winter
At least
bulk clothes. Yeah,
probably 75%, man. You could probably put like
maybe, because they take up a
like
lot more room. Yeah, a pair of shorts doesn't take up very much room. Good
yeah.
point.
I mean, well, yeah, not just that. I mean, you could probably wind up taking like putting all your stuff in like a carry-on.
Yeah, that
Like
exactly.
all your stuff. You know?
That all of it. That's exactly. And you could buy, a big hat when you get there. Hello,
Yeah.
Suzanne Eckstein. And any island in the Caribbean, Canadian Spider-Man. Agreed. I do like Jamaica. I haven't spent yeah, more than a day there. It was a stop on a Carnival cruise line. I love Jamaica. Grand Cayman, Aruba, St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. I spent quite a bit of time in Dominican Republic, and I enjoyed that. But of all the places in the Caribbean, probably Cuba, Rod. It is Cuba actually in? Yeah, Cuba's in the Caribbean, yeah, as opposed to the Atlantic. Yeah,
Oh yeah, of course.
yeah, they're the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah. Oh, hey, and hello. We have Admiral Teague over there on X. Hello and welcome to you.
Hey.
I wasn't sure. God, this is the first X comment I've seen, yeah. So welcome to you, sir. Good. Yeah, we're streaming on X and YouTube tonight. Do you mind?
Right
Yeah. Suzanne Eckstein says Barbados, as is the gem of the Caribbean.
I could have read that. Just because I have my
well,
glasses.
you were doing your glasses, so I was gonna get you to,
Okay.
and then you were doing them. So I've never been to Barbados. Have you been to Barbados?
I have not.
No. I'd love to, though. I'd definitely like to. Yeah, it's just, and not that It's not that, I mean, I've always, it's not something new. This is not something that I've just decided in the last few years because of Trudeau or anything like that. It's not like that at all. I've always
No,
wanted to live in a warmer climate for half of the year or more. Come back
yeah,
to Canada for, like, we literally have 3 warm months.
yeah,
4 if we're lucky. And the
yeah, and
fall
then
here is pretty sweet.
the fall's okay, but it's just yeah, it's just like
Early
marginal.
fall.
I mean,
Or no, I
sometimes
mean early fall. Soon as
sometimes
you see the leaves change and then boom.
sometimes it does get spoiled. Sometimes it's like shit, man. We all remember like growing up and putting our snow costumes or snowsuits on underneath their costumes. Like fuck. Like crap. And who's it? There's a writer by a Cuban writer by the name of Leonardo Padura, and he lives in Cuba, and he
Oh
makes
yeah.
a lot. He makes a lot of money just off his detective out of man. I can't remember. Okay, now my brain's uh, totally totally blanking on his detective Leonardo Padura's detective series, but
Ooh.
he makes a good chunk of change. And even Anthony Bourdain straight up asked him. He was like, he had him right. He was just kind of like, you've been all over the world. It's like, I mean, and like with your money that you make from your with your books, said you could live anywhere. I mean, like, but you always come back to Cuba. And then he just literally just a great big obnoxious why, you know, and like that's just it. I mean, like, I mean, for somebody who has a little bit of money, there's nothing you could stay there for God knows how long. And like, damn man, I'm telling you, like, you could you go to a Pelletar, uh, you probably don't even need to spend $10, probably like $6 to $8, and you get like full buffet. You know?
And food is such an important and fresh food. I mean, I try here with the hunting I do and my
Mhm.
gardening. Um I really,
Yeah,
the older I get, Rod, the less I'm buying food in packages at all. I'm
I'm about.
really pretty good about. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
can honestly say when I think about it, I'm pretty good about buying. The only thing I really buy in packages is pre-made beer. You know,
yeah,
really, I try. I mean,
yeah,
the pasta sauce, I do
yeah.
sometimes. Yeah, I
I
do
can hear you.
fairly
Keep
often
talking.
buy pasta sauce, but I try for the good kind, and then I add a lot of stuff to it. But mostly, the places like in the Caribbean and tropical places, and I don't know how many places I've been to like that, like a few dozen. I spent. I'm not just talking weeks. I've spent like years and years in tropical climates when you add it all up, and just the having the fresh food, having the
Yeah,
availability on a daily basis. They don't have big refrigerators and big pantries because they buy it all daily, and even the supply chain's not that long because it's coming from just down the road. It's
just
dependable because the farmer 30 kilometers away can you can get food from him reliably. Yeah. Oh my goodness, we have a whole bunch of people just came in watching us, Rod.
holy cow. Yeah,
Yeah. Did you mind reading this from our friend Suzanne Eckstein, please?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
My dad is from Barbados. My mom is from Trinidad. That's funny she says that because not that I don't, yeah, because there's a Trinidad in Cuba. Did you know that?
I don't think I did. No, no. It
Yep.
does. Now, does Trinidad mean something in Spanish?
It's a big city, and
Yeah, but I mean, does it have a meaning or anything? I don't know.
uh, I think it.
Hard to say.
I think the name has more to do with Tobago. But I shouldn't say that. I mean, I'm just going to say I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
Uh. Yeah. Do you mind reading? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. The next one from our friend Suzanne
Yeah.
Eckstein.
Yeah. Canadian Spider-Man, if you decide to go to Barbados, DM me and I'll see you are welcomed well. Nice.
Oh, man. Suzanne Eckstein, be careful when you say things like that because I have a habit of showing up on people's doorsteps. Okay, I am I will at the drop of a hat
Just let me know,
appear
man.
on the
You
other
really,
side of the world. Man. I will absolutely.
you
No
really need
kidding.
to, really need to come here. We'll have a few one weekend, and then
Yep.
because the
Let's do it.
possibility I might have a possibility of a job, but I'll get to that in a bit. But
Okay. Well, how about in the next month? I'll make a commitment.
yes, please do.
In the
Yeah,
next month, I'll either fly or drive up there.
yeah, and then yeah,
Should
because
be able
I've
to.
actually between my brother and I, we've collected a whole bunch of travel shows on Cuba, and
Ooh.
this is awesome stuff to know for you to know when you go to Cuba.
Thunderheart.
This way, you don't have to go into you don't have to sit there. I mean, you can if you want to take the tourist things, tourist buses and all that. But I mean, like, why?
I never did that.
You know, I
I
mean,
stay in hostels. I stay in youth hostels, and I get all the latest details right there. Sitting around the
well,
table having beers, talking to backpackers who've just come from this little bay
yeah,
over here. Or they just came from this town. I
yeah,
don't bother with the. I have done the tour buses when I was in grade 11. With EF educational tours. Educational Foundation, I think, is what. And we did a tour with the high school. About 20 of us went on
mhm,
a bus, and we spent 10 or 11 days going through Italy and Switzerland and
mhm,
Nice, southern France
yeah.
and Monaco, and that was amazing. And I'd like to go back there. I'd like to go back to Italy. I plan to this year and go backpacking and just put on a backpack. And that's good to have a tour guide, but I'd like to stay in hostels and talk to the locals and talk to the staff who are local at the hostels.
See, that's why.
Just go around
Yeah,
talking to and find out cool stuff like that.
yeah. See, that's just it. I mean, it's just like me and my brother. We just it was. I mean, don't get me
Ooh,
wrong. It was neat. First of all, we got basically an unofficial tour
yeah.
like we just took the bus to Havana, and by the way,
Ooh,
we took like the free bus, as in like the bus that's just available to like everybody, and like it stopped off at Hotel Vatico, and and then I just we stopped off
well,
there and like, okay, where are we gonna go? What are we gonna do? And all of a sudden, like, there's literally like there's people who basically just bar themselves off as tour guides, and then like
yep,
dude walked up, hey,
absolutely.
I can help you out, and and they're like,
That's right.
and then
And the
um,
government doesn't interfere or try and
no,
tax them or give them certification or licenses or anything like that.
no,
There's if he's a local and wants to show me around his place that he lives and he knows about, and I'm a tourist, and we make a deal, I want to pay him money for what he knows. What the
mhm.
hell does the government have anything to do with that? Stay the hell out of it. I want to deal with this
Well, no,
man.
yeah, exactly, and like
That's right.
and also by the time we were done, like and
Or
like
woman. Could be a woman. If you're
well,
lucky, I
okay,
suppose
yeah,
it could be a cute Cuban woman.
well,
Now,
no, no, I
Admiralty
think there
has
was,
interesting,
yeah.
beautiful. Cuba is the Canada of the Caribbean, or vice versa. Now, is that a Trudeau dig? Or
That's probably a Trudeau dig.
now that's the other thing. Now, what about moving to a communist country? They can just move in and take your house if they want to. I have a problem with that. That's why
That's
I'm
not the
fleeing
point. No,
Canada. Is another reason.
no, it doesn't.
You,
And
you do understand what
you,
communism is, don't you?
do you?
I
I just want to say,
study
I just want to say
political
because I'm
science
just
was my minor in university. Absolutely. I've studied politics my whole life. I know exactly what communism is. And
okay.
basically the individual, there's no such thing as the individual. All for one and one for all. So if they want your house for the good of the country, they're gonna get your house, you
Ah,
know?
but you're speaking of Russia, first of all. Number one. Number
What's the
two.
okay, so
Number
what's the
two.
difference between Cuba and Russia? And that was USSR back
Yes,
when they were communists. They're no longer communist.
they are communists, but what they
Yeah.
are they're really oligarchy, an oligarchy, really.
Mhm.
And honestly, that's not what. First of all, that's not what Cuba is, nor is it what it was based in. Because if Um, let let's
Well, they're listed as a communist country. There are 4 communist countries in the world, not including Northern Korea, because
it's
North Korea is listed as a totalitarian state, so which is even worse.
that's funny because they don't they aren't, and as far as I understand, they're listed as communist. The thing about Cuba is they pride themselves as socialist, which
Oh,
I
Susan
know
Hill.
again that's another red letter word that people are
Well,
you know
yeah,
what is
socialism is like it turns into communism eventually.
mm,
It's the other. It's
yeah, but
the focus is not on the individual. You've known me for a long time. I'm about individual rights. I like to have complete freedom to do what I want as long as I'm not hurting anyone else. And,
that's
and I,
exactly
I,
what.
I fear that with socialism and communism. But Cuba, maybe
Did you
they're
hear?
unique. Maybe they're unique.
Okay, okay, I'll get to that in a second, but let me just answer your question with another thing, and that is that
Family has
did,
villas there. Suzanne
did
Eckstein has villas in Barbados with her family. That's a good
yeah,
off
did
road
you
ride.
yeah, did you hear that George Lucas was asked once about they said that they knew that he traveled to Russia, and then they kind of said, "Huh, must be nice." Yeah, I mean, like I mean, here in America, you can make all the films you want, except for a few things,
Right.
and then but in Russia, you probably can't make, you probably have to run it past the government. And then George immediately corrected him. He's like, "Oh no,
Right.
no, no, that's not true." George said, "Nope." See, he said, "Actually, that's the thing." He said he knows a few. He knows quite a bunch of Russian filmmakers, and he said they can make anything they want, anything. Said,
Right.
but
On any
he said
subject.
said there's only he said there's only one caveat, and that is that he said you just can't criticize the government. He said you can't criticize, or you can make you can make but like he said, ultimately he's like, no, you just can't criticize the government. And like he said, I've seen here in America, when it comes down to like, oh, if you do a documentary on Monsanto or something like that, no, they won't let you do that. If it has to do with if it has to do with questioning
Right.
certain corporations or any businesses
Okay.
practices or whatever else like that, no, you can't do that. The,
So what now because the government does have strict control over Cuba and everything around it, is there overfishing? I mean, do they have a good handle? How's the seafood availability in Cuba? Are they overfishing? Because that's a problem in some places like Asia, for
here's
example.
You're not wrong. Here's the thing: a lot of Cuba. The thing of it is that
I love
what people
seafood, right?
it's the very same reason that paladars became a thing. Paladars are those restaurants that are just based out of people's houses, and
Oh, is that a
yeah,
thing in Cuba?
that's a huge
Okay,
thing
I've seen that in Central America. Okay,
because
yeah,
that's
okay.
because that's the thing about Cuba. They're letting everybody have a taste of free enterprise. I mean, by the way, if you didn't know, Airbnb was a thing. There is actually.
Well, that doesn't sound like communism at all.
That doesn't sound like it at all.
As long
Yeah,
as they value individual rights I mean, that's how America became and Canada became great. The individual was encouraged to just do your own thing as long as you're not hurting anyone and be an inventor and be,
yeah.
creative, and you don't have to follow the crowd. And as long as your property now, see, I have a problem in any country that the government can just take your property. Guns in Canada, for
They don't.
example.
They don't do
Or
that.
how about your land in well, anymore. Hopefully not.
No, honestly, I mean, I've been there enough times, and no, I've never heard of anybody like actually come in and stealing their land. That, however, I have not heard with, for example, shall we say, a certain orange-faced businessman who was trying to build a parking lot, and then ultimately
Oh.
he managed to get eminent domain, and then he bought and had this family kicked off their farm. And it's
Oh,
absolutely funny to hear that because this was a Russian family of all people, and the old lady was crying that she said they could do this in Russia, but I didn't never believe they could ever do it here.
hello, Dad Man Walking. Just wanted to say hi
Yeah,
before going to
yeah,
bed.
they've
Thanks
been
for
walking. Yeah,
dropping in. Yeah, that'd be as long as I knew that my property was safe, that from being just what's the word, appropriated or confiscated,
annexed, annexed.
annexed, what any of those things. And as long as there's good seafood, and as long as the land is fertile to grow my own food. I mean, I did see a lot of agriculture in Cuba, so I'm guessing most of the land is pretty fertile there, because you do see
Here's
a lot of things growing.
here's what happens. See, the government does take a chunk, 51%
Hello,
is
Miskatonic Madman. Hello and welcome.
51%, but that's it. 51. I mean, look, that's yes, that's half of what you make. But I mean, like, when you make something that's pretty damn big, that's like you know, uh,
Do you
you
mean
can still
money? Sorry, you lost me there, Rod. Do they take half of your money or half of your agricultural produce?
no half of your produce. That's how it works.
Okay. All right. What do they
See,
do with it?
they well, I mean, they pump it back into their government, and then I mean, because remember, don't forget they do have free healthcare there and free education.
So
I'd
they
like to point out.
presumably they would sell some of this produce internationally, and with those proceeds, fund government programs. I would.
Right.
Ooh. Do you mind
Yeah.
reading what Suzanne Eckstein has offered here? That's ooh,
They'd
love,
have, yeah,
love.
they would be happy to take you deep sea fishing there, Spider-Man. And yes,
Oh,
Castro was a scuba diver. You didn't know that,
I'm
did
a
you?
rescue diver. I did not know that Castor was a scuba diver. I'm a rescue diver. I love scuba diving. I'd
And
like to get my dive master here certification the next couple of years or sooner, so that I can actually get employed as a scuba diver.
and yeah, and I also like to point out that nobody even knows this, but the largest coral reef, the largest reef, is first of all, it's not the Great Barrier Reef anymore. Do
What do you
you,
mean?
you knew that?
What's big? Well,
Uh,
the Great Barrier Reef hasn't shrunken any. I assure you. I was just there
no,
recently.
no,
So what's bigger? What's bigger?
no, but half the Great Barrier Reef is now dead. Did you know that? Because of boat fuel,
No,
chemical.
that's false. That is absolute environmental propaganda and false.
Are you sure?
100% not true. 100% Rod. Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, I won't discount that. But I mean, like, I will say though
The
that
Australian government just put out a report, and as well as like I belong to scuba diving groups, and no, the
okay,
reef is thriving. 85% of it is doing better than it has in a long, long time. It is thriving, and the
I'm
last
not
time
gonna.
I dove there, every I went to a whole bunch of different parts that I had been to a decade and a half before, and it
I've heard
had
it.
just as good. It was just as thriving, just as good.
Hmm.
Scuba diving groups, they'll all tell you, no, the Great Barrier
So
Reef is
you've been
doing
there when? When
fantastic.
was this?
Oh, it's probably 6 years ago now, but no,
Hmm,
6 years
okay.
ago, and the first time I was there was in 2000, like 2000. So no change in all those years, no change between the two. And the government of Australia just put out a report just last year about the status and the health of the reef. And
Hmm.
it blew apart all those narratives about. They told me when I first went there, Rod. I swear to God, because I was surprised when I first went to the Great Barrier Reef in 2000 and 2001. I was there in Australia for a year and a half, and they were all saying. I remember I did the reef the reef teach reef education class in Cairns, right the heart of the Great Barrier
Hmm.
Reef, right there. And all the marine biologists, everyone there was saying, "Oh, the Great Barrier Reef has like 20 years left to live," and this was in
Hmm.
2000, 2001, and they were saying everything will be dead by the year 2020.
Mhm.
and I bought into it. Because I was a liberal. I was very
Mhm.
I believed I believed the ozone layer holes and the acid rain and the global freezing back then and all of that stuff. And now it's the global warming. And I believed all of it. And
Mhm.
the reef is going to be dead in 20 years. So I spent every cent I had at the time getting every dive certification, spending every chance I
Mhm.
could on that reef for as long as I could afford it before going back to Canada. And
Mhm.
I've been to the reef, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 years over the next 2 decades, or 4 different times over the next 2 decades, back to those same, or 3 times over the next, yeah. And it's the same. It's as good as ever. And people will tell you. And if you're part of any dive Facebook groups or dive online organizations, or you even go to their websites, they're saying their tours are booming better than ever. And even the Australian government, who is very keen on all this environmental, climate change propaganda crap. Uh, they're I couldn't believe that they actually admitted the reef has not been destroyed. The reef is actually doing wonderful.
Mhm.
85% of it is thriving better than it has been in a long time. And everything, all these dire predictions where they said, "Oh, the reef is going to be dead in 20 years," that has come and gone, my friends. That has come and gone. That was 2020, and the reef is doing just fine now. Do we need to do everything we can to protect it, to make sure that we don't affect it? Absolutely. Do I think that we have as great an effect on every time mankind tries to interfere with nature, we fuck it up. We fuck it up. So less is more in some cases, and the less we do, the
Hail
better.
Joe's atmosphere. Yeah.
Hello, William
Okay.
Shakespeare. I'm a passionate diver, man, and I just that's one, like, I really want to make sure that the truth is out there, and not, especially when it comes to diving on the Great Barrier Reef. That is something that I mean, I'm in love with the Great Barrier Reef, man. I'm passionate about it. I love that place, and I wish, man, someday I hope I get a job as a
I'm
diver.
absolutely not disagreeing with you, but I mean, on the other hand, I feel more like I want some sources on that before, especially since that Australia themselves are big on propaganda.
They
In fact, do you follow that this oh man, and the name, what do they call the Honest Government? Um, because they're actually Australian,
Who's
and
that?
they were look on YouTube. There's a channel called Honest Government Ads, and they're actually, first of all, they're Australian, and first of all, the number one thing they do is they debunk everybody's propaganda, including their own.
Good, and citing sources is important. Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
I
So
got
that's
in
why I'm
the
that's
reason
why I'm still not 100% on the Great Barrier Reef. Especially since I have first of all my nephew lives down there now, and so does my wrestler buddy. Uh, and I happen to he's a really good friend of mine. His name's Jason Elton, and but he goes by the name JJ Hilton. And I don't know what his. I think he went by JJ Hilton when he was in WWE. But the funniest thing about him, and this is what he was like. Well, if you're going to be famous, you might as well be famous for something.
Mhm.
Um,
Take that.
he well, see, there was somebody did a The Undertaker 22 years of tombstones,
Oh, wow.
and and like, yeah, just like nonstop tombstones. It's just like only like about 2.5 3 minute stretch. But here's the coolest part: my buddy JJ Hilton is in that one, and of course he gets tombstone. But the coolest thing about him is that uh, when he fought the Undertaker, Taker didn't even bother taking off his hat and coat. So like he got tombstone before Taker even had taken his entrance clothes off, and that's how you can tell it's
Oh,
it's
like
him.
a coat, like a robe or cape, or
He had Well, yeah, no, he's an undertaker, so of course he's wearing like a
Heavy cloak.
not a heavy cloak, just just a undertaker hat and um long jacket. I can't even think of the name
An
of
overcoat. No, not an overcoat.
close.
A trench coat.
It's yeah, trench coat. That's it. He didn't even take off his trench coat. So
Okay.
so like it's so that's the really funny thing. It was kind of and you can literally, and like if you knew my buddy, like and like because he shared that once, and then he's like, if you're looking for me, just look for the one where Undertaker doesn't even take off his trench coat, and like, oh, that's
Okay.
funny. But yeah, no, like he lives in New South Wales, so and he's pretty aware of what's happening down there too,
Well,
and then like
up north.
and my nephew too, but like as I said, I'm not disputing you, so like I'm just simply gonna
With
say,
my own.
I just want some sources first before I mean,
I got into
you know,
this. I got into this discussion with a buddy of mine a little while ago, and so I don't know, probably 2 months ago, and I did some. I did just to make sure I knew that my own personal experience wasn't just unique, and but the Australian government itself has, and the Oceanographic Society of Australia, whatever their official name is, they all have yeah, they all have the data, and it's a bright spot. It's positive, and I was so happy to reinforce what I already had experienced my own self. But I honestly,
okay,
Rob, in 2000, they were telling us at this reef teach in Cairns, right
yeah,
down
but
in Cairns.
you
They
know,
were
it's
saying,
like it's just about 25 years later now, right?
I
It's a
and
quarter
that's
of
my
it. It's a
point,
quarter of a century.
right? And they were saying it's going to be gone in 20 years, and here it is,
Hmm.
25 years, and it's not gone. I was just there, 6 years ago, but it's still there. So they were wrong then. They said 20 years, it'll be gone. And I went
There's a
back
flotilla.
and it
There's a
wasn't.
flotilla of plastic about the size of Texas, not too far from Australia.
Yeah, I know. I know see, we should settle it and claim it because I don't think anyone owns it right now, Rod. We should claim it and it's ours.
Yeah.
And it's no one else, and anyone who is peace loving and likes hockey and maple syrup can come on and live for free.
Hmm.
China will and does take private property. That is true, without notice when necessary. Don't believe me? It's not hard to
Yeah.
find a cell phone video on YouTube, smuggled outside the
No, good.
China firewall, of course, which is real
No,
too.
see, yeah, exactly.
It's true, of course. But
Yeah.
but I think
But
what I'm understanding from Rod is China and Cuba are quite different. Like Cuba's not actually communist, and what you're describing doesn't sound at all like communism, which is good. Not a fan of
this is
communism
what I'm
there.
trying to say. Yeah. See,
Hello,
and then
Pastor.
yeah,
Hello to everybody. And Joe's
but
atmosphere. No, you don't want to live in Cuba. Come on, man. You would never own a thing in Cuba, and you would not be happy. Well, what do you base that
actually,
on?
yeah,
Because
exactly. I
I've
mean,
been
because
to
if you've actually been there, then that's one thing. But I mean, like, I'll tell you
people
right
seem
now,
pretty
people
happy,
own things. No, and people own. They do have private property now, and
but but it seemed they always lied to me, Rod. You ask them who the best baseball player is, and the Cuban locals that I now, mind you, it was only 4 or 3 dudes, but I was asking them who's the greatest baseball player, and they were telling me Castro. Fidel Castro was the greatest baseball player of Cuba. So that's like, why are you saying that? Like, because if you don't say that, your neighbors will turn you into the government and you'll be keel hauled, or
you.
what?
Mm,
Socialism, communism are the same thing.
I
Agreed.
never heard that, but I mean, like, yeah. And no, it's
Maybe
not
he
the
was a
same.
great. Maybe he was a great baseball player. He did have a baseball team. I know Castro did,
He
and
threw a
they were
mean beanball, but no, he never played for the Yankees. No, never got called for the Yankees.
no. So he should have.
That's an urban legend.
No kidding.
But yeah,
That's
but
interesting.
yeah, no, but
Hello,
didn't
PvP. Welcome. Seems to me every country has its flaws. Yeah, pretty much. Well, no. Seems to
every
me
country
pretty
has
much
its flaws,
any
has its
country has its
share of
flaws.
human rights
The overall
violations,
quality of
except
life
Canada, of course.
is still good overall. Depends on if the overall quality of life is still good overall. Yes. Well, see, that's the thing. I mean,
Exactly.
a lot of countries have a lot more flaws, and a lot of and some countries have a lot less flaws. So not every there's a huge scale. There's a lot of shitty countries out there, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of better countries. You know, and they're in flux. Like one decade, your country could be good, and then 40 years later, not so good. You know, it depends. And you're right. It depends on and how do you judge that? The overall quality of life. I would agree with that. PvP. Yeah, you judge that by the over and the happiness of the
Well,
people.
remember what
And
I pointed out.
yes, and their freedom to speak. Freedom of speech is important.
Yeah. See, I mean, I've been there 3 times. Each time in the span of about a week.
Yep.
And by the way, my brother and I were walking down the beach, and then I came across a neighboring resort, and there's a fair amount of garbage on there, and just
Yep.
what else do we do? Doing the Canadian thing, and we cleaned up a lot of the just about all the garbage. And one of the beach cops came by and he's like,
Good for
"Hey!"
you.
And he gave us a big thumbs up. He's like, "Hey, right on," And then he said, "Hey, so Canadian?" And I was like, I look at him, "Oh, CC," and then he was just kind of like, again, he gave us a big thumbs up, And by the way, beach cops, they don't have any guns.
No.
They
No.
didn't have
Well,
it. They did have walkie
hopefully,
talkies that can bring people who do have guns, but no, they
ah,
don't have
no.
no. So no, I mean,
Cheers,
like,
Gil.
again, see, everybody thinks, but like there's there's propaganda goes both ways. I mean,
Well, that's what.
don't
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
don't forget that.
Does. That's what PvP
Um,
says right here. I'm at the point where I don't trust either side's info. Propaganda comes from many sides. You're right. So that's why you
yeah,
have to go with statistics, like actual go out there and count
or
the fish. Go out there and spot, and they do. They have programs where
not
they literally take one area and they will take photos and count the fish, and then they will go back the next day and they will so they have a good idea of how many fish, how many corals. They also
well,
do this with the invasive species. The crown of thorns starfish is a really invasive species on the reef, and
yeah.
they're monitoring that as well. They have a lot of volunteers doing this, which is another bright point. It's a good. I like to be optimistic, and a lot
Well,
of
okay.
volunteers help measure this sort of thing. There's a lot of people. Well, you're gonna pay. You're gonna let me. You're gonna pay for my dive, my air, and my equipment, and I get to go down and count fish on the Great Barrier Reef. Yeah, I'll do that, and they volunteer their time. So it's a positive thing. It's a good thing. We have a lot of data, but you're right. Propaganda is it's hard to
Oh,
trust. That's why facts, science, and factual
oh,
account data.
yeah. All right. Okay. Regardless of Great Barrier Reef, the Jardines del Rey in Cuba, one of Castro's favorite scuba diving spots.
Can you say that name
Um,
again?
Jardines del Rey, which is the
Ooh.
Bay of Kings.
Oh, Del Rey is of Kings.
Yeah,
Right. Of course. Of
yeah,
course. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. That sounds good.
yeah. And uh, because Castro restricted the fishing and the thing, there's almost no pollution in that ocean there. So, and the Bay of and the Jardines del Rey has now become a World Heritage Site, as a matter of fact,
That is excellent.
because it's
Fantastic.
it's pure. It's not besmirched by uh, man. I can't think tonight. Um, sunscreen, boat fuel,
That's a big
oil,
thing. They're concentrating on the Great Barrier
yeah, and that's really also
all
because
over,
like you can,
all over
that,
the place.
and
Yeah.
that's really because and that's really because you're not allowed to fill your boat up too much. Which okay, yeah, yes, I agree. Communism, bad, but government control, shall we say? But they've eased up on that. They have eased up on that since. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying too, the other thing is that any corporation right now, Walmart, uh, Walmart, anybody, they can go set up base there right now. However, what they don't, well, what the reason why they won't is because the Cuban government takes a big bite. Like I said, 51% out of their thing. So therefore, it would basically be the Cuban Walmart, you know, and that's what no corporation wants to do. That they don't want to give up their control. So there's that. But getting back to what I was saying though about the paladars, the restaurants ran out of people's houses. The Cuban government, ever since uh, the special period, that's what it was called in the 90s, when when USSR communism collapsed.
Right.
Um,
Like actual, yeah.
yeah, yeah, because they were sending a good chunk of their stuff over to Cuba, but then that wound up stopping, and then Cuba entered the special period, which is exactly what Castro termed it, and understandably so. A lot of people don't like that because and they go they because as far as they were concerned, basically a lot of people became extra specially hungry, and as a result, the Cuban government opened the door to private enterprise. And as Cuba is actually one of the world's largest organic food producers, and
Oh, right.
which is
Like
also
actual organic or in organic in name only? Actual organic.
okay. Yes, actually, actual organic,
Because
as
a lot
in
of the
like
stuff you buy in the supermarket says organic. I'm sorry. It's
no,
debatable.
this is
There's degrees of
okay.
organic.
No, I agree with you on that one, but I mean, like, no, they don't, because like they grow it too. First of all, they grow it too fast, and B, uh, I mean, they don't allow chemicals there. It's not,
It's probably too
it's
expensive too, Rod. It might be too
yeah,
pricey.
this is what I'm trying. Yeah, I mean, so like, you buy fruit and stuff on the street. I mean, like, I've had a brick oven
That's
pizza
awesome.
uh, out of Paladar at a restaurant. And like, oh, mm, one of the best homemade pizzas you could ever want.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's exactly. That's homemade, right out. Nothing better than homemade food made in someone's kitchen.
Uh, that's just it. And actually, if I'll bet you didn't even know this either. By the way,
All right, you'd be
the
surprised what I don't know, buddy.
well, honestly, I don't know either. I'm actually I just simply have a I'm just lending a good chunk of my experience from when I've been to Cuba. But um, uh, they, I mean, the Russian as the, I started to delve on this earlier, but I mean, like, the Russian government, like, they limit their education system, and they limit on their healthcare, right? But there's no limit in Cuba. Free education,
Oh,
free education right
and
up to PhD level.
right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
In fact,
well, but they would only offer that for actually like degrees that will actually benefit society. Like you're not gonna get a PhD in underwater basket weaving or things like
well,
that. Hopefully,
obviously, obviously the ridiculous one. No, of
underwater.
course not.
Yeah, underwater gender studies or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
probably not. Yeah. Tiger Stripe says Canadian Spider Man. Well, who are they that are talking? If you're talking about a specific environmental agency, they are self-supporting, like most agencies. Like government agencies, most government agencies are not self-supporting, but maybe I'm misunderstanding that. Yeah, like the
Yeah,
FDA, for example, that's an agency. They get most of their money from the very people they are regulating. Same as the
yeah,
pharmaceutical.
exactly.
So I'm
Unless,
yeah. If you're talking about a different lot, if you're talking about agencies, not governmental agencies, I agree.
yeah,
Most, yeah, non NGOs for sure. Hello,
yeah.
Susan Dolan. Joe's atmosphere, great to have. He says hello to me and my wrestler buddy. I think that's you.
Yeah.
Welcome. And
Yeah.
Rod, I think. Do you mind reading? I think Tiger Stripes is talking about the plastic island that you were describing. Do you mind reading
Oh,
her?
yeah. They
Her
recently learned that most, yeah, I recently learned that most recycled plastic is sent to island countries, where who then throw it in the ocean. My entire life has been a lie. Oh yeah, don't
Yes.
forget that. And don't forget
Yeah.
that how many people are throwing just plastic cups off of their cruise ships?
Hopefully not. I hope not too many people nowadays, Rod.
Are you kidding? You know people.
I
People are being like, no.
I
I have no
uh,
faith in people at all. I've lost all faith.
yeah.
Sorry.
I
I'm
hate to
sorry.
admit you might be right more than not. You might be right more than not. I'm a little naive perhaps. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I agree the same tiger stripes when I was down in where the hell was I? In Honduras. I was on Honduras and they get see their problem there's a place in Honduras that's called Utila and that's wonderful for diving. Also
Hmm.
in Belize, the coast of Belize is just south of Guatemala, and
Yeah.
Belize even more so on their beaches. I was talking to an expat over Christmas in Belize, and he was from America, and he was saying that garbage constantly comes on their beaches, and they rake it up, of course, but it comes because Guatemala gets garbage, probably, gets it
Hmm.
from other places, not only their own, takes it out to international waters and just offloads it on giant barges, and it floats. The currents take it sadly to Utila in Honduras, Kikaker in Guatemala, and there's nothing they can do because it's in international waters.
And
So
don't
yeah,
forget, yeah,
I
and
just
I'll bet.
discovered this in the last decade myself. So yeah, you're
Oh
right.
yeah, I know. I mean, like they should. I saw this on Marketplace and Fifth Estate, and like, who is it? The
Agreed,
Philippines.
PvP.
The Philippines too. We sent our stuff to the Philippines.
That's
And
a
then like,
long way. How much did
yes,
that cost? How much fuel did they spend doing that? Jeez,
we obviously paid them enough to make it obviously
worth
worthwhile. And then finally the Philippines said no. It was
That's
like a couple of years ago. The Philippines said nope, fuck you. We're not taking your trash
we
anymore.
had. Yeah, that's right. PvP says I
I
question
mean, good for
anyone who
them.
says they absolutely know the truth. You're yeah, agreed, 100%. I believe something until I'm shown evidence otherwise, and then I change my mind. I once a wiser friend of mine said, Steve, I'm never wrong. I said, what do you mean you're never wrong? Of course you are. He says, no, because as soon as I'm confronted with something that absolutely is against something that I thought, I change my mind. So I'm right again. He says
Hail
I'm
stars of iron.
constantly right. He says I'm always
Yeah,
right because I
yeah.
update my opinion. If I'm not one of these guys that just sticks to opinion no
No,
matter what you show
no,
me.
that's
No, I don't believe it. No, no, no. If you show me the evidence, you well said, PvP. Well said. You
yeah,
question
and no,
anyone who says absolutely
no.
they
We
know the
need
truth. You're right.
Yeah, no, and
So
you know what? We need to we both need to take a
you're
trip
right.
down to Cuba once, and
I
then
would
like,
love to. That reminds
yeah,
me, wasn't someone recently in American health care, I think, said, I am the science.
well,
So guys like that, yeah, I question them because they don't know the truth. If they claim
by the
to,
way,
they're lying. Good point,
mm,
PvP.
I'll bet you didn't know that the Cuban healthcare has a cancer cure.
What? No, I did not know that.
Yep,
What?
look it up. They some people have gone there for that, the cancer cure.
No kidding. I
Yeah.
wonder. Well, I wonder why they're not. Are they not sharing it with anyone, or what's going on there? Or the pharmaceutical companies are paying them not to release it.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I knew they would never cure cancer. I probably came to that discovery, realization, epiphany, maybe 15, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, probably. It's like, oh, why would they
Well,
do that? They can make so
well,
much more money just treating it. Of course they're not.
well, did
They would be shooting themselves in the foot and they would be eliminating all of their customers if they cured cancer. Of course they're not going to cure it.
did I send you that cartoon? Shows a physician, pointing to a blackboard, and on the blackboard it says a patient cured is a customer lost.
Yes, you did. That is cynical. And 15 years ago, I would have been mortified by that statement. But as I get older, I'm more of a realist, I suppose. Life experience
Exactly.
teaches you.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
still try to be an optimist, though. I really still, hopefully, most people wouldn't throw their plastic cups off the cruise ship. I really hope that's true, but
Are
I
you
am
kidding,
naive.
rich assholes? Are you
I am
kidding the
not. I
person
am
that sit there
naive.
and
Well, okay, okay, okay. It depends on how many alcoholic drinks they've had. That is true. Do you mind reading
might I
Susan Dolan's?
yeah, in a second. Yeah, I'll read that in a second. I just want to bring back what Cardinal Sin. Uh, what we actually, it was Cardinal Sin who said this, and I totally agree with him. He said, "We're living on this planet as if we have somewhere else to go."
Carl Sagan might have been an influence on him saying that.
Might have been, but like, no, well, he was
It's a
also
valid
kind of
point.
referring. He was
He's
also kind
right.
of referring,
He's
huh?
right.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not
yeah,
like we have
yeah,
another place to go. You're right.
yeah. But Susan Dolan is replying to Suzanne Eckstein, says, "My chats seem to be breeding like rabbits. I swear I'm not spamming, I promise."
Yes.
Yeah.
Suzanne Eckstein, if Susan Dolan gets out of hand and starts spamming the chat, you block her ass, okay? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So, okay, so I mentioned this earlier, and
Ooh,
I
God.
in some ways I don't want to, because I don't want to mention it unless until it happens. But
Okay. You have my
uh,
curiosity
okay,
now.
a job. I might have a job. Well, I shouldn't
Ooh.
say I might have a job. I just there's the promise of it looks promising, and that is that after after weeks of applying online, I fucking hate doing that online. Can't stand that for the life of me.
As opposed to going and applying with a paper resume and in person and shaking someone's hand, you mean? Or just
Yeah,
all the
because
steps of the application process because it's a pain
yeah,
in the bum.
that too. Because like
Yeah, it is.
then like you apply
Johnson
at
Atoll.
Indeed.
What is that?
You apply it Indeed, and then Indeed says we think you'd be a good fit for this job, so apply. So you just sort of send them your resume. Then all of a sudden, like
Okay.
they send from the back, hey, you look promising, and then they'll just kind of like, we invite you to apply. And it's just like, well,
Fantastic.
I just did fucking apply, you know. So then you have to take another step, like you formally apply, and then like and then
Wow.
and then they actually, so well, hopefully they actually call you back, and then they schedule an interview, and then you go from there. But like that's three goddamn steps that you would like.
What are you applying for, the Men in Black or something? Holy
No
crap.
shit, no shit. So
Where's the
no,
Johnston Atoll? Joe's Atmosphere says he snorkeled quite a bit off Johnston Atoll when I was stationed there in the mid 80s. Is that out Hawaii, do you suppose? Or the
yeah,
Philippines?
isn't that Hawaii?
I don't know.
Uh, I mean, wasn't that
I'll
where
check on it.
they blew up the, like
Oh,
one of the nukes, when they
maybe
were testing
that. I don't
one of the
know.
bombs?
I don't. It
Yeah.
wasn't atoll. It wasn't atoll, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know if it was Johnston. Good possibility. Again, there's a lot of things you'd be surprised what I don't know, Rod. And that's one of the things I don't know.
Okay, I shouldn't. Yeah, no, I'm not, and I'm not, I don't know. I'm just going by my experience. I mean,
Yeah.
because truth. I mean, honestly, there is no truth, only a perspective. I mean, like, hey, what I'm saying is the truth. No, it's not the truth. It's your
Ooh.
perspective.
No, are you saying
That's
there's no
simply
truth? Because I can't abide by that. What do you mean there's no truth? Of course there is.
Stoicism.
The earth
Stoicism says there is no
the earth
truth. Only
revolves around the sun. That's a truth.
no, there is no. No, that's a learned perspective. I'm not saying it's not wrong, but
So the sun
I'm
does
going
revolve
by.
around the earth. The earth
I'm
does revolve
going.
around the sun.
I'm going by a stoicism. Stoicism,
Marcus
which
Aurelius.
is yeah, which means he said there is no truth, only a perspective. Two people get into a fight, and then you fight.
Ah,
You get one perspective, you get the other perspective. Then you
he's
get a
not talking
third
about
perspective.
right.
then you get the third perspective of people watching, right? But then, like, honestly, and then if you had somebody watching, like, say, on television, then, like,
It'd be even different.
what makes, yeah,
Right,
see what,
interactions between humans. Yes, you're talking science, there's scientific truth, but interactions between humans. I see, yes.
yeah,
Because
that's what I'm saying.
we all, I mean, we learned that when I studied anthropology, one they spent 4 years trying to get us to to sort of neutralize the biases that are innate with us, that will
Hmm.
become, or at
Yeah,
least recognize them and then try and diminish them or minimize
yeah,
them as much as possible. So
yeah,
yeah, you're right. When you're dealing with humans, it's all about
yeah.
perspective, and two people can watch the exact same thing and have the exact and be positive that they're
Completely.
both positive in their views, but they're opposite perspectives. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right, 100%. Ooh,
yeah.
and Admiral Teague says, I seem to have a lot of company over here on X. Way to go, Spidey. Well, thanks a lot, Admiral Teague, and
Ah,
hello to everyone over on X.
yeah,
Thank
right on.
you. Yeah, no, we have well over 40 people watching here on YouTube and
Holy.
a bunch more on X. So hello and thanks for being with us. Rod and I, we cover a lot of topics. We cover food, cover scuba diving. We talk mechanics, heavy trucking. Rod is well versed in trucks, and I'm well versed in machines and repairing all kinds of things.
By the way,
PvP
just as a
means
quick,
the truth
just as a
often
quick,
boils down to opinions. When you're dealing with subjective things, yes, but when you're dealing with science and facts and just
mhm,
plain mathematics, math doesn't lie. You know,
mhm.
if you're looking at straight math, I mean, people can omit certain statistics to get it to look the way they want, but no, you're talking the whole picture with all the numbers. Math doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Didn't he wear a duster? Ooh, as
That might
opposed,
be
oh, trench coat. Thank.
Undertaker.
Okay,
Undertaker.
there we go. Right.
That's what that's yeah.
Oh,
Somebody else said
well,
too.
the
Yeah, trench coat.
Undertaker. Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, Eugene Bird, hello, and welcome to you. I'm ready to die, but looking forward to 25 years of goofing off first, if possible.
Oh,
Yes,
100%. 100%, man.
25 years of goofing off somewhere warm. I do. I love Canada, but somewhere warmer than Canada that's cheaper to live. That's my dream. And Cuba, if they're not communist, I won't live in a communist country. But
Hey,
if they are, like you say, yeah, it's
hey,
worth exploring. I'd love to go back. I'd
hey,
love to go
Spidey,
back.
look up. It's on there. Anthony Bourdain, no reservations. The first time he went there,
Oh yeah.
uh, yeah, it's on Prime.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like Anthony Bourdain.
yeah,
Absolutely, I like. Hello,
it's
Eugene Bird and Tiger
yeah.
Stripes and Suzanne are saying hello to him.
Hail, hail.
Hail. Ooh, Susan X says that she has family in New Zealand. Should I choose to go there too? Yeah,
There
and
you
our
go.
good friend
Yeah,
Carla Burton is
nice.
in New Zealand, and
Yeah, sweet.
I've got a couple of friends over New Zealand way too. So of my own, yeah, I'd
Yeah.
love to get over to New Zealand one of these days.
Okay, so and I just realized we got off track. I was explaining about the job application. Yes. Yeah. Well, guess what?
Oh yeah,
Um,
job application. Yes, please.
it's just a mile outside of Kelmar, a mile west. Um, a place
Ah,
called a place called FL Carriers.
yep.
And finally, after the third time, I made sure that I had a resume and like and I have my abstract driver abstract, which
Okay. Yeah.
the most recent one, as I said, I'm not that proud of because well, I'm proud of the fact that I took a driver improvement course, and
Hail
that
Star
took
Iron.
and that
You are.
took
You should be proud of it. Absolutely, Rod.
3 demerits off. So now I only have 2. And I went into FL Carriers, and I'm just kind of. And for anybody who believes in numerology, I was quite shocked to, and I even actually took a screen cap just as I was walking up to the door of the place. Um, I pulled out my phone and I looked at the number, looked at the time. It was 3:16. So I screen cap that.
Okay, yeah. Haystack of
Well,
iron.
if you're anybody who's
316. Yep, I've
any
seen that number around.
well, the reason why is because the reason why it's a number is, or like is a significant number is that you add them all together, you get 10 or 10.
Mm.
Again, anybody who's a numerology freak would be like, oh, that's
Yeah.
very significant.
Oh, well, yeah, no, but that's numbers are so that's the thing with numbers. You can do that with them. That's kind of what they do though. It's not a surprise.
No, but by the same token, if you see a number repeating over and over and over again, I mean, for example,
Well,
when I
that's
was
because
driving,
that's the number you're paying attention to, of course. If
is
it
it?
was another
Is
number,
it?
it's
Or what happens if a number
once
keeps
I
repeating?
own.
What happens if a number keeps repeating over and over and over again, as if it's trying to slap you upside the face with it?
Well, you're noticing it, of course. You ever you
Of
notice
course, you're
that
noticing it.
once I owned a Toyota Tercel, I
Yeah.
kept noticing out on the road how many Toyota Tercels there were, and then once I owned a Volkswagen Jetta, I kept noticing how many Volkswagen Jettas were out on the road, but not
That's
before.
one thing, but I mean, like, if
That's
it's a
kind of
number,
how
I
that
mean,
works. That's how our brain works. But yes, no. So but in your particular case, you're saying this resonated with
significant
you. Yeah, why? Why is that? Please explain.
because Dad died and he left 316 on my phone. I'll get into that later. I just also simply want to point out too that seeing a bunch of cars is one thing, but when you're seeing a bunch of numbers that constantly repeat over and over again, isn't that kind of significant? I mean, didn't you yourself just say math doesn't lie?
Well, right. So involving math here, you would have to record every in a ledger every time you saw a number in your life, and you'd have to record it,
Or just,
and then you would have
well,
to analyze how frequent that number. So that's math. You would have to statistically analyze how many numbers you see every day in your life and record them, and then physically count. Okay, this is 316. This is 3. That's how you would do that. That's math. Yes, and that wouldn't
I
lie.
would look at
Now, just your memories can lie. So now we're getting into
hmm,
memory.
numerology.
Memories are fallible.
I would, yeah, but I mean, on the other hand, too, I mean, like, it's one thing if you, I mean, I'm just saying that when, if you seeing it again and again and again, I may have said this online once before, but I mean, like, I saw Dad's spirit the night he died,
You did
and
say that.
he told me that he left something for me, and I said what, and he said,
You did say
yeah,
that.
you'll see. I said, how will I know? And he said, you'll know.
You'll
And
know.
then when, and then when I woke up, I walked up, I got up and I heard my cell phone had finished recharging. I walked up to the stove and I saw the time. It was 11:09. And then I looked at my phone, but my phone read 316, which was a message from Dad.
And that's what you knew. That's the sign that he was talking about. Yeah, you did say that before, Rod. Yeah. And so that's why that number has significance to you, for you
And
personally.
and the truck I was given at Action was number 316. Remember?
Yep. Yep.
You know, that means Dad gave me that truck, or at least he helped guide, forces in order for me to have that truck. How again? But getting back to, I mean, I arrived there at 316, so that to me, at the very least, that tells me that it was a good time to have walked in the door. And I
It's
totally
a good
think
omen.
that's right, because here's the thing: I walked into the door, and
Yeah.
then there was a dude at a photocopy machine, and they
Yep.
didn't appear to have a receptionist, or at least that I could tell. And
Okay.
then anyway, I said, "Hi," and I said to the guy, "Hi, I don't know if you guys are hiring," and I said, "Because I don't know how recent the sign is." And then he said, and then the guy turned around, he looked at me kind of slyly with a smile, and he just kind of, "We could be," And then I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm a driver, and I'm actually kind of, looking for work, and wonder if you guys were hiring." He's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
well, come on in." And then he waved me over to his office, and then we shook hands, and then I handed him my resume. And he asked about my experience. He asked if I could back up Super Bs. That's those trailers with the with the hitch on the over the double axle, double or triple axles on the first trailer.
Okay, yeah.
Uh, yeah. And then and like can you back up those? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I said I have a lot of experience with. I mean, I said it's not listed on there. I said, but because but I worked for Home Hardware for about 2.5 months. So, but unfortunately, the last few weeks I worked there, I was getting like maybe 2 weeks, 2 days a week,
Okay.
maximum. So then he was just kind of, I understand. So like they had to let you go. I was like, well, it was a temp agency anyway, so like they were under no real obligation to retain me. So and then I was like, oh, but I mean, I said, but like I got a lot of Super B experience with them, and then he's like, oh, that's cool, right on, and then we, again, we got some more chatting, and I told him, and I said, can I call action? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I said, you can call Tyler, and then like, and I said, but like I just happen to be unemployed right now, and uh, you know, if you guys are looking, I will,
Yeah.
I'd love to, and then I also pointed out that I was only 15 minutes away too. So like that's another big thing. I mean, not like I was in, because Edmonton was about 40 minutes away. Like if I lived there, and then like like FL Carriers is in Kalmar, which I mean, so I mean that's another good thing. It's a job that's only close, not too far away, which also saves gas and money.
Which is a big deal these days, especially. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
gas, I don't know what about, but it's buck 70 a liter here.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
and
that
right
makes a
here
difference. And just
it was
time driving is not, it's not what you
yeah,
really want to do with your life. I mean, if
it
you
was
don't.
a buck. Yeah, it was a buck 30. It was a buck 34 a week ago, and then suddenly, like literally, like a day or two ago, suddenly now it's like bang, buck 45. It's like
Oh yeah, no, it's up to, it's like a buck 70 here. Wow. That's, oh, and okay, paying attention to the so I mean, yeah, somewhere, I don't know. I once had a job, Rod, in Victoria on Vancouver Island at a machine shop.
yeah,
And I could, it was 2 blocks, 2 streets over from where I lived. So I could
mhm,
walk 2 blocks to work. It was 2 minutes. It was brilliant. Yeah, I value that.
yeah,
Well, man, good luck with everything in the future, man. Hopefully it goes well, and hopefully you can get something where you're not.
well, yeah.
uh,
Anyway, he said, yeah, and he said too that I said, then this is the big thing that like everybody looks forward to in an interview, and he's like, well, if we called, when would you be available? And then like, now notice that he said if, but
yes,
still,
if.
you know, still he did say like he was just simply like like he was just just a regular when can you sort of and like that was fine and like he kind of laughed a little to himself because he made a bit of a joke, which is like because he already knew it's like I'm out of work right now, so like he's like I said as soon as possible. Like he left like probably any time, eh? Like, well, more or less, yeah. And then like we both laughed, and then he said, okay, well, I said I'll hang on to this. I said then said if anything, we'll probably let you know sometime next week because we probably want to be get you going by get going by next Friday.
Oh, that
So
sounds encouraging.
yeah, and then the other thing too is like um, this this interview. First of all, it sidelined the first thing about applying online, and that is that they probably get 100 like 100 resumes online, and then like but then all of a sudden they have this big muscular guy walk in and like here's my resume, and then they can put a face to it, like, oh, that guy, I remember him, he was a big dude, okay,
Oh,
and
that's
like
right. Yep.
every trucking company, of
Cool,
course,
cool.
they want a nice big guy who can handle stuff. So like,
Yep.
yeah, so this might be it. And then
Yeah.
like, and Tyler said too, from Action, he said He said, "Yeah, no, I can. I'll give you a good reference." So
Excellent. Excellent, man. That's good. Well, that
yeah,
sounds. I mean, that sounds optimistic to me, Rod. That
yeah.
sounds pretty. Not to jinx anything, not to
Thanks.
jinx
Well,
anything, Rod.
we'll just
And
keep it quiet until something does happen.
yeah,
Like, I mean, if I don't, I mean, who knows? I may never hear from them again. I mean, just like the ice cream depot. But
well,
I mean, on the other,
I've interviewed tons of people in Whistler for maintenance jobs, and I would always, if they didn't get the job, Rod, I would call them back and say, "Hey, sorry," or email them. I'd let them know so they weren't friggin' hanging in the lurch.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I wish everyone did that, and you really appreciate the places that do that.
yeah.
I just want to say, and we're way behind on the chat, but I
Holy
I'm
crap! Yeah,
glad to hear that, Rod. I'm glad that I'm glad that you're sounding optimistic, man. And I'm hopefully gonna start up work. My Zamboni job finished. Obviously, it's pretty much
yeah.
summer
So
now there. So the ice is done. So my Zamboni job is done. Hopefully, I'll
yeah,
start construction here soon. Something to get productive. Yeah, I've got I've got energy and time to burn. And you know what? Canada, apparently, I keep hearing we need houses. So I'm ready to build. So
yeah.
hopefully it starts.
I'm working hard on it, Captain Notfinity.
Yes, I
Second book.
want
Yeah.
to want to welcome a whole bunch of people in the chat, and I'll get to all the chats
Yeah,
in a
I'm going
moment.
through it right now. Actually, yeah.
Kivan6, hello, Kivan6, welcome. If I'm not
Hey,
sure if you're watching or listening, Captain Notfinity, hello to you. Susan Dolan, oh man, Susan Dolan is going off in the chat. There's a whole bunch of great comments that I saw in there, and so we're gonna need another 4 hours to discuss everything the chat has just brought up.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
So no more chats, and we're just gonna discuss everything you've. Oh my god. I don't know if we shit. I'm just looking at all the comments. Holy crap.
hey, I don't either, man. Like, I just
Wow.
know that I've been to Cuba, for example, and I've totally enjoyed it there. So like,
That's right.
hang
Yeah.
me.
It's worth checking out. It is worth checking out at everywhere. I mean, all options are open. As long as I am free to do my own thing
Hey,
without hurting, as long as I'm not hurting anyone else.
hey, do you have
Oh, here
Discovery
we go.
Plus
Discovery Plus.
on Prime?
Is that a streaming agency?
Ugh. Yeah, you know how it is. You get a bunch. I mean, like, fuck. Just like Tom Connors said on Midnight's Edge. I mean, because now they've curated and they've cut up all the certain channels that you can have.
Oh.
So because
Oh yeah. No, I
um,
don't. I just have YouTube. I have nothing. I only watch YouTube really.
you
I'm
don't
not
even have Prime. Didn't you say you had Prime?
um I can you hear me, Rod?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I
Yeah.
had Prime for a month because it was my nieces and nephews' birthdays, and so
Hmm.
I picked out birthday presents for them online. And to avoid the shipping costs, I did sign up for Prime for 1 month. But yeah, normally I don't have any streaming services of any kind.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Uh,
Well, Discovery Plus has they have a show called it's actually 10. Ooh, wow, it's 10 years old now.
okay.
Um, they have a show that's yeah, it's technical because it was filmed in 2014 and it aired in 2015. But the show is called Cuban Chrome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they follow
Ooh,
three people who are trying to take these junk vehicles and then convert them into like
classic,
grandiose, yeah, into classic cars that
gorgeous.
they can wind up so that they can wind up joining the Cuban a lo Cubano car club, which also is more prestigious because then they can first of all, it's a network of car parts. Secondly, yeah, because like in Cuba, you got a
Which is
network to be able
important.
to find you,
Yep.
yeah, to find your car parts. Secondly,
Yep.
you also be able to ferry tourists around on the island, not just locals.
Ah,
Because if you just got a shitty cab, well then I mean, even
they don't
I
let you.
mean, usually tourists, they don't really want to in a rust bucket. No, they want to
No.
drive around in like in a car with Cuban pride.
That's right. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whistler Ski Resort in British Columbia here has the same policy. No cab can be over, like, I think Japan too. 5 years. I think it is in
yeah,
Japan too. But yeah, it's like that.
yeah.
Do you mind reading this from our friend Eugene Bird, and we'll get
Yeah, sure.
chat.
Eugene
Thank you.
Bird. Eugene Bird says, "Tiger stripes. Some people have a list of things to accomplish in their lives. I finished mine early, so I can do whatever I want now. I suppose. Not afraid of the Undertaker, though."
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Good for you, Eugene Bird. That's productive. I I did the kind of the opposite to that.
I will say that. Well, I'll say this though. Like, I mean, like, I don't really have anything. I mean, if I'm ready to go, okay, it's my time. It's my time. Fine. I'm not gonna.
Hmm.
But on the other side of the coin, your travel show suddenly made me wish for like the last 20 years of just. I'd love to have done exactly what you've done, which is
Travel.
travel. But I mean, like, I'd like to write a few books, and then I'd like to go
Mhm.
do a little bit of traveling. You know,
Absolutely, man.
I'm still, yeah, I'm still in shock that
Hooked on
you didn't. Yeah, and I'm still in shock. Well, I mean, my brother got me into like Anthony. First of all, Anthony Bourdain, and then Bourdain came out the second time, Parts Unknown. No
it. Hmm.
reservations, then Parts Unknown on CNN. And then, although when he came to CNN, he had to kind of sort of curate himself a little bit so that he wasn't really. I mean, when he was no reservations, he could fuck shit. He
Oh yeah,
swore.
he could say whatever he wanted.
Yeah, but in Parts Unknown, he cleaned himself up a little bit. And which um, anyway. And then my brother also turned me on to the Wonder List with Bill Weir, and one of the places that Bill Weir went in his second year was Cuba. You know, and that was pretty cool. That's where I learned about the whole any corporation, any business can move to Cuba, but they have to give 51% ownership to the government.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I mean, you know what? That's exactly what Canada was well back in the day, and by
Hmm.
that I mean because that's just it. The government is supposed to regulate corporations and protect people, not regulate people and protect corporations, because that's what they're doing right now.
That's fascism.
That's exactly
When
what it is.
corporations are in league with the government, that is fascism. And yeah, you want to know who dictates policy in Canada and America right now? It's corporations. Yeah, largely.
Oh yeah, it
Uh,
has nothing to do with. Yeah.
but I'm also not a big fan of governments owning. I don't like the government owning too
The government doesn't own it.
too much,
Yeah,
because
yeah, no,
they can cut you off. I
yeah.
mean, Trudeau, if he had the power, if you were unvaccinated there 3 years ago here in Canada, he would have closed you would have been free to do nothing if he would have had the power. If he would have had control over all the businesses here, you would
You
be
know,
welcome nowhere, nowhere.
do you
So
remember
yeah,
what I told you?
which time?
Okay, sorry.
Which
I should
time?
be. Let's be specific here.
Yeah,
Um, you remember
thanks,
what I
Edmund.
told you
You might need
about
that, buddy.
yeah, about how the government was being loose and free with all their no, you can't do this, you can't. No, you got to be vaccinated. No, just like you
Yep,
said, right? Yeah. Well, guess what?
agreed.
Yeah. Well, no. Guess what? The convoy won the lawsuit.
I heard, surprisingly, yeah. The state of the justice system in Canada. I was very surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised because that's what should have happened. But
No, I'm 100%. And like, and like, look,
okay.
I still wasn't completely for them. But I mean, on the other hand, too, I think they should have gone at least put a little bit of trying to rein themselves in a little bit. I mean, because like, the news interviewed some people who live downtown. It's just like there was honking day and night for like the first
That's
14
probably
days.
where they made enemies there where they probably didn't need to make enemies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
you
mean,
might
and
be. Yeah,
those are the people that they're supposed to be standing up for.
yeah,
And like, what
yeah.
did they do? All they did was
But
piss them off.
as soon as they got, as soon as they had a legal court order to tell them to stop honking, they did, and the
Yeah,
police would arrest you if if you honked. So they
Yeah.
they did abide by that. But yeah, I think they should have stopped the honking before a court order was necessary. They could have done it for a day or 2 days to make their point, and after that, you're just gonna piss like your
Yep.
yeah the citizens off. But yeah, in general, I'm glad that the court decided that, and that was the right decision in my opinion. Um, Ooh, okay. Eugene Bird says, if you have things to do, then you aren't ready. That's the sense I meant it in. Wasn't trying to alarm. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh no,
Um,
no, that's no, yeah.
I'm never. I'm gonna fight. What's that? Carpe diem. Fight, rage against the dying of the light. I'm gonna claw every friggin' second because see, I don't believe in anything else. I don't
Why do you,
believe in anything else. Like just when I'm after this life is done, there's as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing else. So I'm gonna fight for this life every second. Carpe diem, like fight and rage against the dying of the light. Bob Dylan.
been to a few pipe ceremonies, and I know that
Not
there's
Bob
something
Dylan.
after this.
Dylan Thomas. The other Dylan.
Hmm?
It's not Bob Dylan, it's Dylan Thomas, the other Dylan.
No,
Rage
no, I
Against the
said
Dying of the Light. I'm sure that was
I,
Dylan Thomas.
I've been to a
I
few of my
checked my
my indigenous people's pipe ceremonies. I know that there's something after this life. So I don't I'm I know we all have somewhere to go.
So does that mean you don't value this life as much as someone who doesn't believe there's anything else?
Why do
Because
you
to you,
what?
no. Well, because there's more after this, as far as you're concerned. So if you
Yeah,
lose
but that
this,
doesn't mean
that's
yeah,
not
but
the
that
end of the
doesn't
world.
no, but that doesn't mean that I don't treasure. It doesn't make me treasure what I do have in this world. That's why do you think I've? That's why I've embraced stoicism.
Yes, yes, and you've really turned me on to Marcus Aurelius, and I have to start reading him. Absolutely.
Again, like I said, it is a shame for a man to grow old without knowing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable.
Agreed, dude. 100%. 100%.
Hear the bicep crack there? Like,
Yeah, yep.
oh, that one cracked too.
Susan Dolan said the carbon footprint is the biggest farce to come out of Washington. The U.S. Department of
Oh,
Agriculture is telling
100%.
farmers and cattlemen to destroy their crops and send all their cattle to slaughter. Are they trying to starve us? What's going on there? Yeah,
There's
that's
word is that
carbon.
they are trying to starve us. Actually, I mean,
See,
which is partly why the food prices are so high.
man, when look back in prehistoric times when plant life was thriving, carbon, we have numbers for this. We can tell they've drilled holes in the ice, and they know there was a lot more carbon back then, and the plants love carbon. So yeah, I don't, and I'm not an expert at all, but I don't trust uh, anyone that says carbon is bad. I want to know the proof. Jardins equals gardens. Yes, in French, en français. Oui. Admiral Teague says, I have right of return to Cuba. I can see myself using it. Can't see yourself using it. Nah, it's not it. Well, go check it out for vacation, buddy. Go check it out. At least go check it out. As a tourist, obviously, I wouldn't move there until I was sure that it's not. I wouldn't move anywhere unless I was sure I would be at least as well, probably
Mhm.
more free than I am in Canada. I want to move somewhere where you have freedom of speech. That is number one. With freedom of speech, you can get all your other freedoms back. Do you mind reading our friend Susan Dolan, what she has to say?
If they don't plow under their crops, Nebraskan farmers had to destroy the soybeans, or they would lose their subsidies. They'd be sprayed with Agent Orange. Who? What? In where? What?
In Nebraska. Is that the
Nebraska? Really?
FDA? The FDA. See, I've heard. I want to
See?
see videos, but I've heard about this. We're going to be
No.
5 hours getting through this chat. We are so slow.
Haven't you heard
Oh,
too? Like about? Haven't you heard too? Like that
good point.
Saskatchewan farmer, the Saskatchewan farmer who some Monsanto seeds blew off of blew
Is
off of
that
a
an
truck.
old wives? Is that real
That's
though?
not an
Like, or is that
that's not an
urban
old
legend? Like, how do we
no.
know?
Look
Did
it
you
up,
see
man.
this yourself?
I'll find it. I'll dig it up and I'll find it for you, man. But
Okay.
like,
It wouldn't
fuck,
surprise me.
man.
It would not surprise me. Yeah,
Ultimately, he finally won, though. I mean, Monsanto won, and then finally it got turned over and appealed, and finally he won, and then
because it's
finally
not
those
his
mother.
fault they blew onto his crops. He didn't go steal the seeds. The Monsanto,
No, but that's what Monsanto wanted you to believe.
right? Yeah. Which Cuban government? The one in Havana or the one in Ottawa? Haha, good one, Admiralty. And that was oh shit. That was 45 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so we are doing a horrible job with the chat.
yeah. Let's try and speed up there, like
Yep.
catch up on.
Let's jump ahead. Yes. Let's use the mouse for that, shall we? Ooh. Oh, okay. This is good. Tiger Stripe says, yes, another thing I've heard from a good source recently is that a lot of organic produce is still sprayed with pesticides. Yeah. What? Yeah, I hope not. Well, not the ones I grow in my garden, right? Uh, Walmart used to
Yeah,
have a great selection of stock store. Now much of it's online. Yeah, because they're cutting down cost PvP. Yeah, no doubt. Do you mind reading William Shakespeare Spielberg, and we'll just hop through these real quick?
no. Okay, we'll come back here. Hey, by the way, the StreamYard is now different because the last time, chat ran, like underneath us, but this time now I have to switch screens for the chat. But oh
Oh,
no, I totally agree with the man. I just can't trust anything U.S. government tells us anymore about anything. He's there. There. You go. You're
or
100%
any
on that, man.
government or anyone
Not that
or
go back.
corporations either, or the internet.
Oh, not that I did any much when I was younger either. Hey, good for you. Yeah. Now it's just worse.
Yep.
Yeah. No. I mean,
Or
yeah, and then
corporations,
or
or the internet,
corporations,
the
the internet,
newspapers.
sometimes I don't even
Sometimes,
trust myself. Although to be honest with you, I mean, at least you know what though, like at least the newspapers they put research and they put work into studying the source, but they don't do that now. They don't
oh,
do anywhere near that now.
PvP says Walmart doesn't have. Add to the lack of stock in the Walmart, the cattle chute railings and the gates at the entrance to dissuade shoplifting as well. No bags, not even cloth ones you can buy to put your purchases in. Well, that's not convenient, is it?
Yeah,
And hail, Stark of Iron. Hello, hello, welcome to you, Susan Dolan. Yes, throwing garbage in the ocean is heartbreaking, especially considering we have plenty of room in the U.S. to simply bury our garbage. That is true. Old mining, you could absolutely. Hello, everyone. Hi. Plastics dissolve into the ocean into microplastics, then nanoplastics, which get into the mouths of fish, digested, then into their flesh. Then we eat that nanoplastics in fish meat. So they say, yeah, I've eaten a
yeah.
lot of
See,
sushi
microplastics.
recently too. Um, well, so plastic man might be a real thing in the future. There's an animal dewormer that is potentially a cancer cure. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, you like this Stark of Iron? Your favorite graphic tee from the Shoporama collection of Doomcock? So do I. It says,
Ha! Nice.
winning the war on woke. Yeah, me too, Big Tony.
Winning
Thanks.
the war on woke.
All right, now
Nice.
we're only half an hour behind, so that's not so bad. Do you mind reading Susan Dolan's?
Tiger stripes. As far as I know, Japan is the only country in the world that doesn't have a garbage problem. Oh no, absolutely. They took their trash, built an island. Oh, and put an airport. Oh, hell yeah. No, like that.
All
Japanese,
right.
yeah.
Yep,
You know what?
in
There's one
Osaka.
other company.
That's
Yeah, there's one
Osaka.
other company. There's one other country now. I will say, and that is Germany. Germany's another one. They actually import other people's trash because they're so efficient at
So,
getting rid of it.
well, my understanding is they as part of what they do is they incinerate it, and they have scrubbers on the incinerator smokestacks to clean all
That's
the air,
exactly.
and
That's
they incinerate it
exactly
at
it.
such a high temperature, and they actually they the energy that's produced by burning that is put back
Mhm.
into the system, and
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Now it's a YouTube video that I saw on it, so I haven't been over there myself to
No,
actually
but
see it with my own eyes. But it was a reputable YouTuber anyway.
well, if
Yeah,
you ever look up, and they're German,
agreed.
Kurzgesagt,
PvP.
Kurzgesagt. They're a good one too. They're a good learning channel.
Ooh. Susan Dolan says they build apartments with garbage too. And hello, Captain
Yeah.
Infinity.
Yeah.
Greetings
Yeah.
to you. Hello. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Admiral Teague.
Bikini Atoll. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's it. That's correct. I can. That's what I was. Well, that's what I was taught in history class anyway. William Shakespeare says, Susan Dolan, didn't we just see last week's show, Spidey from Ed Stark, huge group of Japanese volunteers cleaning up the beach? If that was that, something else I just recently watched. Yep, that was exactly that. William Shakespeare, Fermented Cinema showed us a huge, massive cleanup effort based out of, I want to say, Oyama in the south, in the island between Shokuku and Honshu Islands.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they collected all kinds of odd stuff out of the ocean and off the beaches, and they're going back and they're cleaning up that whole region again, and it's a massive effort. So the Japanese are
Yeah.
pretty good at cleaning up, but unfortunately, a lot of stuff that washes up on Japanese shores isn't necessarily from Japanese people. It's from other countries dumping it in the oceans, right? I mean, currents carry it all over the world too. So,
Hmm.
oh, here PvP is talking about your online application filling. Do you mind reading
Yeah.
his, and we'll
Oh,
get
absolutely.
caught up? Thank you.
Pleasant Picker CA says, Wrench says, I remember filling online applications some years ago when job hunting. The questions are so invasive, I may as well have been applying to be a man in black. Exactly. Exactly. You're just like, you're
Yep.
just,
Hey, Rod, if I'm not mistaken, you have control to cycle through these as well, don't you? Or you just seized? Oh, he just froze up. Bikini Atoll is one place they did nuclear testing. Yes, Miskatonic Madman. That's exactly the one that we were thinking of. Still don't know where Johnston Atoll is. Rod, I got the perfect truck for you if you win the death race spin tomorrow night, says Tony, Stark of Iron. And Rod looks like he froze up there, but he does have the keys to the mansion. He can let himself back in. Hopefully, I don't think I've frozen up. It doesn't look like it. Let's just check on the YouTubes. Nope. Okay, I'm still good. Rod, I know you'll join when you can, buddy. Until then, we're gonna keep your gorgeous mug up on the screen there. Hello, welcome. Uh, it will be when I get Mark your time. All right, see you, Tony. Nolan. Nolan. Japan does a good job of hiding their problems. That is true, but they're not really hiding their like homeless, for example. Japan does have homeless people, uh, but they're well dressed, all of them, and fairly respectable, and there's not that many of them in my year and a half living there, and so it's different. I think their problems are different, but they definitely are. Face saving is a big thing for the Japanese, for sure,
oh, good. I'm back.
and it is very beautiful. And they have a huge population on a small island, so I'm surprised they don't have more pollution than they do. They do a pretty good job of maintaining it. Yeah, Rod, I know you seized up there. I'm glad to have you back, buddy. Captain Findy says 2 people can watch the same exact Blade Runner and yet have different complete opinions on it. Yeah, you're right. No, Spot, says Susan Dolan. There is only truth. What is trying to pass itself off as truth, her truth, his truth, your truth. There is only truth in your opinion as to what you want to be true. Well, that's what I think we're agreeing. That's what I said. I
I agree.
in like science, there is truth, and that's it. Now, if you want to get into numbers, if you don't show all the numbers, if you are selective in which numbers you choose, then yes, math can be used to statistics can be used um, dishonestly. But I'm talking about all the numbers and using them legitimately. Spidey won that pop quiz. Johnston Atoll, about 750 nautical miles southwest of the Big Island, Hawaii. I looked it up. Aha. Well, yeah, you thought it was in Hawaii too. Just we were wondering if that's where the nuclear bombs took place. But no, it was Bikini Atoll. How could I forget Bikini? That's one of my favorite English words is bikini, Rod. Bikini
No
fire,
kidding, eh?
yeah, bikini, fire truck, and panties in that order. Suzanne Eckstein says her internet is wonky. I hope it gets better, Suzanne. I'm glad you're with us. Not true,
You know,
Canadian Spider-Man. Numbers can be massaged and are by most companies, agencies, governments, etc. You can think of to again serve themselves. Well, you're right, and that's why I just said what I said, Tiger Stripes.
yeah.
Math and numbers can be manipulated if they don't show you all the numbers. I'm talking raw data. Raw data. Math doesn't lie. 2 plus 2 is 4. Every time. Doesn't matter what color the 2 is. Doesn't matter what sex the 2 identifies with as. The 2 plus the 2 equals 4. Yes, okay, PvP. I thought that afterwards. You said often. He wasn't talking about math or scientifically provable things. Absolutely, because they're completely different things. It's like apples and oranges. Agreed.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, and here too. Yeah.
PvP. Do you mind reading what the captain says here?
Yeah, Captain Notfinity said Doomcock and RMB watched the same Blade Runner movie, and yet their perfections are still incompatible. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like, what was it? Doomcock said Deckard was a clone,
true.
and RMB said, nope, Deckard is the real deal.
Yeah.
So,
Susan Dolan says Japan isn't a big country, so they have to be very careful with their resources. They don't have the space to just dump garbage. So they have to figure out ways to utilize it. Yeah, absolutely. Like building an airport island. Exactly. Perceptions. I was wondering, perfections. I wasn't going to question you. I was wondering what you meant. Perceptions. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Greetings, Kevon 6.
Programs.
Hello. Programs. Oh, how's Rod's book coming along? I'm assuming
we mentioned this earlier, but yeah, no, it's coming along swimmingly.
Oh, Susan Dolan said, I didn't know this. Did you know this, Rod? Do you mind reading it?
Actually, I think there was. Yeah, I know, because I remember dusters being mentioned, and my brother-in-law came from Australia, and he had a big duster, and it was called that as a duster, a duster raincoat, and duster raincoat too. It said,
okay. If there's any Australians in the chat, they are laughing their ass off because dusters mean testicles.
Yeah,
dusters are slang for testicles over there. But do you mind reading what she said there?
There's a difference between duster and a trench coat. A duster and a trench coat. Bogart wore trench coats. What the Undertaker wears is a duster, like you see cowboys wear. Yeah, exactly. That's more or less what I was. My brain just couldn't process because there's another word for it. I know it. My brain is just not functioning tonight.
Not my first wife. Her memory is perfect. Too perfect. Yes, you don't want to be with a partner whose memory is perfect. Hopefully, if they're borderline blackout memory, that's better, I think. Hail Stark, what did I miss? Had a sleep crash and just woke up, says Kevon 6. Oh, you woke up at midnight. Good on you, man.
Yeah.
And Stark is just on his way home from work. He's probably home from work by now, seeing as that was half an hour ago. Do you mind reading PvP's philosophical statement here?
Yeah. We see Pleasant Valley Picker CA says, we seek significance in things to give our lives meaning. Whether that significates a supernatural event is open to interpretation. Yes.
That's a great statement, PvP. That's excellent.
I won't. I'll be honest. Being native, I personally know and believe that there are spirits in the wind and everything. One of the reasons why I'm only going to say this is simply because there have been times when I've been trying to whip straps over the trailer, and then there were times I got so pissed off, But then all of a sudden, I collected myself, and I'm just like,
focus the energy. Yep.
And then all of a sudden, I got a little more centered, and then suddenly I just kind of and I was able to pitch the strap right over, and then screw the wind, and I've found sometimes it does feel like the wind or something is trying to make you angry, but
or against
that's my belief, nobody else's. So and that's fine.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
I keep seeing the number
Oh,
69.
gee, I wonder why.
Captain. And do you mind reading this from Tony?
Sometimes sometimes I see 80085. I wonder why.
Boobs. I actually didn't get that until Suzanne Eckstein wrote that. When
Oh,
Tony
that's
wrote
exactly what
that, I
that's
didn't get
exactly
it.
what I thought. But I mean, like, I'm a child from
So I
the,
was like,
well, so are you. We're children of the 80s. That's the
dude,
first
I'm
thing you do.
52 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was born in
boobies,
72. I know, on a
boobies.
calculator. I know.
Yeah,
304. Exactly. Yes.
yeah,
Do you mind reading PvPs?
yeah. I've experienced days where a number of events just fell into place a convenient way. Does that signify the universe is trying to tell me something in particular or just random chance? No. See, that's the thing. I mean, like, haven't you noticed that there are times where suddenly it just feels like suddenly like everything, and like the reason why is just because it means everything was rolling your way. There are some people,
That's
and
right.
sometimes that luck just happens randomly in their favor.
Captain says Spidey changing his story like P. Diddy. No, that's not. I said if I will change my opinion. It's because I had an old friend who said I'm never wrong because when I presented with new evidence, I change my opinion. So I update my
Nope,
opinion. So I'm
I'm
the
with
same way. I'm
I'm with that too. I mean, hey,
I've been wrong
I
so many times in my life that you'd be a fool not to think that sometimes I might be wrong.
dude, I'm a trucker, and now I'm like I've come around to your side of the thinking. And the other thing too is Nisky Dispatch. My buddy, my friend Dusty, who worked for them, he kind of was like both sides of the thing. But I mean, like, I mean, on the other side of the coin, he still kind of still was in favor of the truckers. Which at first I was kind of like, I mean, he still mostly understood. I mean, because like
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
mean, if it was truly the truckers, then how come nobody at Loblaws or nobody at or any of the or Walmart or any of the other big corporations didn't drive their trucks down there? Well, no, I mean, that's because they quietly support them. But I mean, like, well, everybody's still got to break their bread and be able to bring home the
That's
bacon for the family. So I
yep.
get it. That's why I'm just, and and then like also too, like, no, now I'm totally against the poke now. Totally.
Yeah, I'm honestly, Rod, the only reason I was so adamant is I'm a healthy dude and I never bought into the fact that I needed it for myself and protecting and when they
Yeah.
started saying, well, you got to protect your grandparents. No, never, ever in history have the children been sacrificed to protect the old. That is absolutely against
Well
how
said. Yeah. Yeah.
democracy works. Yeah, um, or civilization works. Do you mind
Yeah.
reading this from our friend Kevon Six?
Yeah. Kevon Six. Eugene Bird says, I have way too much to do and want to do before I depart this earthly plane. Hopefully
Mm-hmm.
this will allow me to live forever. Okay.
Man, I hope so. That's right. Ooh, and Tiger Stripes still loves Crackle. Honest Trailers did a hilarious vid on every streaming service. Fun to watch. Honest Trailers. I don't know that channel. That's a good tip.
Are you
Thank you,
kidding?
Tiger Stripes.
Dude,
Yeah, no, tell me about it. Yeah.
Oh man, Honest Trailers
Oh,
goes hand in hand with Cinema
shit.
Sins.
I'm bleeding.
Oh, you're bleeding. Oh.
Yeah, working with firewood. I'm always cutting myself. I just opened it up again. That happens. Man, I tell you, I bleed more than some women I know. I'll tell you that every month. Just what happens when you do a manual job that or working around and living in the country. That's what happens. Pleasant Valley Picker says Tubi's really good. I watched the documentary on the UK punk band The Damned. Since then, I see them in concert next month. Interesting documentary and going 48 years. Wow, what is that? Cinema Sins? Cinema Sins. What is
Yeah.
that, Rod?
Yeah, that's a movie channel that it's actually the first real channel that I
Honest
really got hooked.
Trailers. Yeah.
Yeah, that I got hooked on YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, and Cinema Sins also wrote a book, a few books actually. And
Okay.
damn, they should be in my reach somewhere. Yeah, but um, anyway, And CinemaSins, he's basically some would say it's film criticism, but it's really more. I think Mahler and Drinker pointed out that CinemaSins is
Film
he's basically
appreciation.
surpassed. Well, no, he's surpassed film criticism to the point where he's created some kind of art new in unto its own. So in
Okay.
other words, I mean, because by using somebody else's art, he's able to turn around and paint a different picture, completely different, and yet still entirely his own, which still falls under what you would call film criticism. So I like
Yeah.
that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Just yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
PvP says, I know there are some things I don't know. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Oh no. Exactly.
Tiger
And what's that?
Stripes, yeah, that is an old meme. I like that. I was put on this earth to accomplish a certain number of things, and right now I'm so far behind, I will never die. That's awesome. And yeah, good point. Thanks,
Hmm.
Captain. Yes, believers treat like a video game, don't we? Uh, well, some maybe, yeah. You know what? When I talked to a lot of drivers in India. Well, not a lot, like three, but driving in India, they honestly, they on mountain highways, Rod, they will pass on a blind corner, not knowing if anything's coming, because they believe that they don't choose when they die. Their actions don't dictate when they die.
No, no. If
Whatever
it's
they
if it's
do,
yeah, it's like
because
okay. Well, if it's
it's
my time to go, it's
ordained,
my time to go. Yeah, exactly.
and the gods are in control of that. So whatever I do isn't going to affect that. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, it's driving in India. Yeah, kind of like a video game. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Ooh, Meditations. Is that? Have you read that by Marcus Aurelius? PvP recommends it.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Well, I
I
mean,
might
like it's pretty
I
much
will.
in capital. If you look up any Stoicism video on YouTube, it'll tell you, and they manage to condense it down, like and like a lot of it is like just simply really, really, really ridiculously good philosophy. And the other neat thing about philosophy is, I mean, to borrow what Bruce Lee said in the movie Dragon, I mean, like the neat thing about philosophy, I mean, like, you could think, I mean, especially in my case, you can think really, really deep thoughts about being unemployed. But uh, no, it's the other neat thing about philosophy. I've discovered this too, is that philosophy is designed that there's multiple meanings to something. So when you say something, and then like or like if you write it down, and then suddenly like then you look at it again, then suddenly your brain kind of like, wait a minute, it processes it a different way, and then suddenly you can find more meaning to it. And that's what I've really, this is what the world is missing today, actually. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah. What is it?
You know, what?
I said. Yeah. What is it? What's the world missing right now?
Oh, well, philosophy. See, like the other thing too is like, I mean, as I said, I mean, if people were not so concerned with stuff that they can't control, then maybe they would be less worried about, well, what they can control. And and again, that's the that's a pillar of stoicism, which is simply like, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You know,
Absolutely. You
and
you can't
look at
control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it.
look at 90% of the news right now today, and then imagine yourself in that person's place, and then imagine if you sat there and think, can I control this, or is this something that's beyond my reach? And if it's beyond my wheelhouse, well, then why am I worried about it? You know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's
Yeah.
how
You got to
that's
look at the 10,000 foot view or the 5 year view.
exactly.
Yeah, I agree, man. But I don't
Yeah,
think you don't realize that maybe until you're older. Like I didn't realize that till my 40s, probably.
man.
You
Nope.
know,
Exactly.
life is too short. Yeah. So, good night. I just wanted to say good night to Suzanne Eckstein. She
Yeah.
says she is off to bed. Good night to you, and thanks for being here,
Yeah. Good night to see you,
Suzanne
Susan.
Eckstein.
Yeah.
I really appreciate You being here. Thanks for that. Yeah, Suzanne's here almost every stream, I think. So thank you for being here.
Or is this because I'm not here?
In the
I'm
chat?
not here.
She's always in the chat too. So thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Bill Gates has been buying up a lot of farmland to let it lie fallow. Gotta wonder why.
Yeah, see? Motherfucker.
Yeah, does Bill Gates know how to spell guillotine? Does he know anything about Bastille Day? Because that's all I'm saying. Good luck finding any country with 100% freedom of speech. Well, I mean,
Even better.
Well, no, there are countries that have free. I mean, obviously, I'm not talking. Obviously, you have to have laws against lying about someone, but we have those existing laws. We have those existing laws. It's just recently, in the last 10 years, our freedom of speech has been severely curtailed. I want to go back to what it used to be. When I was a kid, you could say any opinion you wanted as long as it didn't, obviously you can't make malicious lies about someone. That's against, that's against the law within the bounds of malicious attacks on someone. But you know what? If someone wants to say something that that is absolutely horrendous, awful, who was it? Was it Benjamin? Who was it? I can't remember. Ben Shapiro or someone. But maybe it was Jordan Peterson, and he said, and I think they were quoting someone too. Said if someone says something horrendous like that, give them a microphone. Let them embarrass themselves. Don't silence 100%. Themselves. Don't censor them. Give them a bloody microphone. First of all, I want to know who thinks that and who's saying that. And first of all, let expose yourself to the whole world, and so that we can all make fun of you and say you're an idiot for thinking that. Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly. America has more freedom of speech than Canada by far. Especially down, places like Texas. Again, there are laws against you falsely claiming something about a product. Like you can't lie about a product. You can't falsely, make accusations against someone. That's, of course, you can't. You can't do something to destroy someone else, of course. Yeah. But as far as I'm talking freedom of speech to say whatever opinion I want, an opinion. And there are places in the States, I think, that are pretty close to that. There are also, I've been to, 24 third world countries. There are places in this world that they are so preoccupied with just trying to find food for that day that the government, they're not regulated. The government doesn't have money to be censoring anybody or trying to control anybody. Literally everyone in the country is just trying to survive, including the people in the government. I could live there, no problem at all. I certainly have no problem living in a third world country.
See what's going to be my background soon?
Wow. Hey. Wow. Holy shit, Rod. That's fantastic. You're gonna set it up on some shelves or something to display everything.
Yeah, I've got a table behind me while underneath the thing, and then see, look, Jetfire Optimus from the second movie, and
Jetfire Optimus. That's awesome.
Yeah, because if you look on top, see, there's Jetfire on his back.
Okay, here, let me make you big so I can see that better. And welcome, Pirate Dark Tie Knave. Oh man, wow. So a lot of this stuff looks like it's like authentic, pretty old, Rod, eh?
I just have to dust it off, really. That's all.
No. I mean, like it's not modern reproductions. That's like authentic, legit stuff. OG. And
then look, there's that's what's the name? The planet guy.
Galactus?
Oh, Unicron.
Oh, yeah, I'm not up to on that. Yeah, that's awesome,
yeah,
Rod.
See? Yeah. Oh, and then also I got that's
an
Sin City.
Good for you, man.
Devastator.
So like a background for when you're streaming all the time. That's wicked.
Yeah, that's going to be my background.
Wicked.
Yeah, just wanted to show that off.
Oh, that's exciting. Susan Dolan says Spidey, Canada is owned by CPP. Yes, the Chinese Communist Party. Have you seen Geeks and Gamers video of the Chinese president ripping Trudeau a new one, then stalking off? Trudeau went scampering after him with tail tucked. I'm not surprised. Yeah,
I'm not either.
I'm kind of suspect. I've heard rumors that the CCP is actually behind the WEF and has stuff on each one of them. So I wouldn't be surprised. Hello, Pirate Dark Pinave. Welcome. And Tiger Stripes. Yes. Says a duster isn't as fitted to the body as a trench coat. Duster usually doesn't have a belt. Trench coat does. Okay.
Well, did
Duster's
you hear?
longer. Trench coat usually stops at the knees. Okay,
Well,
so that's like an Australian have dusters. Yes. Right.
Well, did you hear that when I was living in Calgary in 2000, first training to be a wrestler?
Yep.
There was a telecommunications company not too far away, just like maybe 10 blocks away from where I was living at my friend's house.
Yes.
I was renting her basement out, but it was a company by the name of Nortel. Now, you may not remember them, but what you will remember about Nortel from the late 90s, early 2000s was they were the ones who pioneered those company phones that they're pretty much ubiquitous from anybody who had a desk in an office, cubicle office job in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? But yet this, Nortel was bought out and pieced off. You know who bought them off?
No, who's that?
Huawei.
Huawei. They're Chinese. Yes. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and Huawei also bought off a piece of Ericsson.
Ericsson. They're European, aren't they? They were Ericsson.
They,
I think.
as I understand it, they had companies. They had companies here in North America too.
Okay.
And if I understand correctly, I believe they were even like Japanese. So like,
Okay.
no, don't quote me on that. I just understand
Erokusan. Yeah, that you know what? Maybe that's possible. I know that they were popular in Japan when I was there in 2005. So that's interesting. I didn't consider that they might actually be Japanese.
And I had them in the late 90s, and those were really nice. They were nice. They were the first flip phones that they only had a piece of flip that just it wasn't, there was no wire or no technology or anything, and it was just a plastic piece that just flipped on and basically just protected the keypad.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's and the later ones actually had like electronics, and they had a ribbon of wires connecting the two halves. How do I know? Because during a hockey game and a bit of whiskey, I snapped one in half and separated. And then I remember going in Tokyo into this. It was a Sony, and I took it into the poor Japanese girl at the reception desk, and I said, "Can you guys help me fix in bad Japanese?" And it wasn't fixed. It was not recoverable. Apparently, she hadn't seen that before. So it's hockey. You get it. You get the beers in you, the whiskeys in you, and you watch hockey. You get aggressive. What can I say? Do you mind reading Kevon 6's chat, please, Rod?
Kevon 6 said some. Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious because I just watched this movie last night. This is direct quote from Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman in Superman.
Ooh.
Some people can read War and Peace and think it's just a simple adventure story. Others can read the ingredients on the back of a chewing gum wrapper and unlock the secrets of the universe.
Interesting.
So, yes. Mr. Luthor, do you think they have chewing gum on Krypton?
What a great movie!
See, that's what
he's my Superman too.
I wonder what's happening in Addis Ababa. See, that's the
Wow.
thing. I can pretty much directly quote the quote, know the quotes that exactly happen right after that.
I did hear about this, Susan Dolan. This was after Fukushima, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Yeah. Did you hear about the Harley Davidson bike that washed up on shore in California? It was still upright on a fragment of a dock. Read the ID number, found the owner, and returned the bike to Japan,
Wow.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
That was from Japan, from the Fukushima tsunami. Devilment is pretty trippy, yo. It is, Captain. I agree. If lying and BS really were illegal, YouTube would be deleted overnight. Yeah, that is absolutely true. PvP. Do you mind reading PvPs?
That's why I don't think they're ever going to get rid of YouTube, because YouTube is a great place for us conspiracy theorists to spread our lies, and then
Yes,
they want to further divide us,
of
but
course.
that doesn't work that way. Yeah.
Man, everything
PvP
is
says,
biased.
yeah, yeah, exactly. PvPCA says, just read the meditation, Spidey. It's not that many pages long and a very good read. See, yeah, no, but I mean, like, that's just it. But I mean, like, on this side of the coin, just like I said, you can read the same thing and then all of a sudden, like, and then read it again, and all of a sudden, like, wait, I never thought about it that way. That's what
Yeah,
I love. That's what I love
yeah.
about philosophy. Philosophy is just kind of like,
I
you can
love
say
philosophy.
something and you can get so many different meanings from it, and then, like,
Yeah,
whoa, and
I took it as an elective when I was doing my cultural anthropology,
yeah,
uh, and man, I loved it. I yeah, I wouldn't have read the books on my own otherwise, and I'm really glad I did. Um,
yeah.
well, we had to read like, because I studied law a little bit too, in as part of my political
Oh,
science, and you have to read a little bit about philosophy, the foundings of democracy. You've got to read, who was that French? There's a French writer that came over and wrote all about the American democracy. Who was that? Descartes. And it read
wasn't it
about him as well. It was fantastic.
Rene Descartes?
Yeah, it might have been. No, or was it Descant? I can't.
Mm.
Anyway, read all of them. Loved it. It's really good. Susan Dolan has a good point. Plants breathe in carbon dioxide and exhale oxygen. If we were dying from carbon footprint, then we would have been dead a long time ago. That is true.
Yeah,
Back in the times of the dinosaurs, the carbon on the planet was much higher than it is now. We know this through ice core samples taken from Iceland. And uh, plants back during the times when the carbon was higher, the place was tropical. I mean, you had leaves this big, tropical forests, giant trees,
yeah,
giant plant life. It was lush and tropical. It's fantastic.
yeah.
Sweet dreams are made of cheese. Who am I to disagree? Love, love that band. Love that band. And Stevie Nicks, oh man, I was in love with Stevie Nicks for so long. Yes, William Shake confirmed. William Shake Spielberg is a naughty boy. That is correct. Oh, okay. Here we go. Getting caught up. Yes, here we go. Kevon6 says, Rod, have you seen the Japanese transformer robots that automatically transform with voice command? What?
Oh yeah,
What?
yeah. No. Oh yeah,
So
no.
far,
It's
they have Optimus, Grimlock, and Megatron. All three interact with one another.
yeah. There's
What?
it's a company.
What?
Oh
Like, are
man,
they?
I'll send
Are
you the
how
video,
big
man.
are?
It's
Are they
oh
toy size?
they're huge, man. They're huge.
What?
They're in fact, Optimus comes with a you can get, well, he doesn't come with, you have to buy the trailer separately, but Optimus has a trailer, and the trailer has a little tiny moon patrol type of vehicle in it that comes out, and it's also Bluetooth activated,
No way.
and the and
Okay.
the, and also Optimus's trailer transforms into like a little sort of like gunnery thing, sort of like it's fucking cool. And then
Wow.
there's Grimlock, and
And
Grimlock
it's
looks,
big.
oh, it's huge. It's huge. Like it's like, knee size at least. Well, no, there's two sizes. There's one that's slightly smaller than knee size, and there's
Well,
one that's slightly bigger than knee
well,
size.
hang on. Your knees are significantly taller than my knees.
That's why I'm saying how big it is, man.
That's
I
okay.
mean, I don't have one.
Your knee,
I've just seen
your
it.
knee
You know.
size. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. There's Grimlock, and then like they just made a Megatron, and a Megatron looks
That is true.
Generation One accurate in that he looks like he did in the in like Transformers like original one, but when he transforms, he actually looks like a tank.
No
So
kidding.
yeah,
That's how much are those? How expensive are those?
the cheapest Optimus is it's just only slightly smaller than than the regular one. Is $600.
Holy shit!
The most expensive one is a little over is I think it's either 1,099.99 or something like that. But yeah, no, like and the Optimus one, oh, like that one, oh, that's the one I want. I want that in my toy box one day. I mean, like, cause oh man, and it's voice activated. It transforms by itself, and like and then not only that, but it looks original. It looks accurate to like it looks cartoon accurate.
Wow.
It's and yet
I'm
it looks both truck accurate and robot accurate.
That is so cool. That is awesome, Rod. And
That's
but for
mine.
that much money, couldn't you could almost buy a real truck?
Yeah, $1,000. Well,
Almost.
yeah, it wouldn't be as good as
Well,
Optimus, but
no,
yeah,
it wouldn't be as good as that. That's a good point. Yeah. No, it definitely would not. That is so and what do you mean voice controlled? Like they interact with the person speaking? That is amazing.
it does. It does. Yes.
Do you have to speak Japanese to them?
I don't know about. Well, it
I mean,
might
I
be.
can. Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know.
I can manage.
It's an American company though too.
Oh, okay. Yes, Captain says because Ericsson is such a typical Japanese name, zero chance they were Nordic. I think that might be sarcasm.
Okay, actually, I shouldn't say that, but I mean like possibly. But I mean on the other hand too, like they were maybe bought out or something.
That is possible. I mean, that happens too.
Yeah.
Do you mind reading? Can you see William Shakespeare's comment?
Yeah. Love William Shakespeare love Superman 1978. Awesome film, awesome soundtrack. John Williams again, of course.
Of
They
course.
don't make films of that quality anymore. Do much anymore? Do they? Oh, of course not.
Nope, they do not.
And the
Ooh,
other thing too is like it's like well, you know who wrote Superman 1978, right?
no.
I'll speed it up for you. Mario Puzo. He wrote The Godfather.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie. Someday.
You haven't seen The Godfather? What?
Yeah, I'm not much into the gangster drama. Yeah, not so much.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway, well, the point being is that he's a stupid ass good writer. So like
excellent.
Mario Puzo. So
Mhm.
okay.
Well,
Have a good night,
good night to you.
Dark Tenave.
Yep. Good night to you, pirate. And oh, so Kevon 6 it says they fight one another and they quote their most favorite lines in
Yes.
English.
Yeah, they do.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, and Optimus is voiced by Peter Cullen, and Megatron is voiced by Frank Welker rather. And Frank Welker also was the one who voiced Grimlock. So so
Oh,
they had no
wow.
problems getting him.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's
no, you hear the me Grimlock.
that's awesome.
It is. Yeah. All right. Well, as we announced, I've got to make a deposit, but I'll be right back, and then
Yep.
you can take it. You can make a
You
deposit, and
got it.
I'll go down
So,
the.
yeah. All
I'll
right.
go down.
Well,
All right. Be right back.
yep. I'm just reading. Kevon 6 says, I hope they eventually make a Starscream. I want to hear him and Megatron argue. That would be funny. Although, can they make Starscream not sound like a little bitch? If they can do that, it'll be good. Otherwise, yeah, hopefully they make him sound good. Good night. Good night to you. Good journeys, Pirate Dark Tan Eve. Hope your day is a great one, says Kibon6. Tynave. Yeah, that's probably how you say that. So anyway, Rod and I were talking about showing a couple of photos here. So I think I'm going to pull it up right now. And let's take a look at this. Right there. There we go. So this is from Cuba. And as you can see, the cocoa taxis in the background, they are called cocoa taxis because I guess they're trying to be shaped like coconuts. And typical taxis around Cuba. And this is a typical coconut stand around Cuba where the guy just takes a machete, and cuts up the coconut for you. And then you can see the straws there. He's got a little cup to his left, I suppose, right in front of the man in the blue shirt. And so he sticks a straw in it after cutting the top off, and you can have a refreshing beverage full of electrolytes. Now, I did see some of these guys.
Right on the cocoa taxis.
Yeah, the cocoa taxis. And some of these guys are missing fingers, man. Like you do that, and you're a bit tired, and you do it for 8 hours a day. One time you're gonna cut your thumb off, and that would just suck. You know,
Oh.
I mean, that's what these guys are doing it day in, day out. You know. But yeah, I thought you'd enjoy the cocoa taxi photo and the coconut guy.
Yeah. And then there's also Bill, or sorry, not Bill, the booze traveler, Jack Maxwell.
Oh, I don't know.
He's been to Cuba.
As opposed to the booze traveler. Interesting.
Yeah, no, that is him, the booze traveler.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I've never heard of him.
I'll again, but and by the way, I follow him on Instagram and on here on YouTube, and he hasn't had any recently, but Booze Traveler would have a live stream, and then like shit, man, he'd have like 140 people, 140 fans suddenly would just follow him, and like he'd have a spontaneous live stream, and then like basically he would just call it like Friday evening drink with Jack, and then like he'd just sit there and bullshit with you for like 2 hours about what's happening, and then he would just and he would just read the chat. It was basically like Culture Casino,
Yep. Yeah.
It was really cool.
This is interesting. Are the cocoa taxis modified Vespas? Kivon6 asks. That's a damn good. Probably, or are they like the tuk-tuks of from Thailand?
I think they're probably just modified tuk-tuks.
Tuk-tuks, yeah, because I see 2 wheels in the back there, and I'm not sure Vespa had a 3-wheel. I mean, they could have. Hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah.
So these are 2 ladies, elderly ladies, out in the street, and they're typically smoking giant cigars, which.
Oh man, the women, they smoke the cigars just as harshly as the guys, man. And
Ooh, love that classic car. Even though the paint needs a bit of work, that's just a gorgeous car.
Actually, if you zoom in quickly, it might have been the design too. No, it is the paint.
Yeah, I think that is the paint. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I mean, the cars were a highlight for sure of Havana. I didn't see too many really fancy cars outside of Havana, but lots of older vehicles and farmers just doing whatever they could to keep the cars running and making parts where they could, fabricating stuff.
Oh yeah. Or sometimes taking like boat motors or something like that,
Yeah. And just the tropical palm trees, the climate is beautiful. A lot of the old Spanish architecture with the balconies up on the big archways and rooftop patios. I'm a big fan of the rooftop patios, Rod.
So you weren't there very long, eh? You said?
In Cuba, no. 8 days, I think it was.
Oh, well, it's long enough though. I mean, like that was just as long as my first trip. Like
I no, I had said when I was in Jamaica, I was only there
oh,
for 1 day.
Jamaica. Okay.
Jamaica was part of the Carnival cruise. Yeah, so I was just there for an afternoon. But again, the gorgeous food. Like, love the food. The fresh fruit in Cuba was amazing. So
Yeah.
fresh, so sweet.
Yeah.
The swimming pools, gorgeous swimming pools. Swim up bar is right there, as you can see. They
Hey,
would
they got a swim up bar. You don't even
swim
have to
up
go up.
bar, man.
You don't even have to
Yeah.
get up to go to the yacht.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend doing that, but
No, I
in
don't. Yeah.
and do you mind reading our friend Kevon Six's
Yeah,
comment?
Kevon 6 says tuk-tuks are insanely fuel efficient. Oh, totally. And can only hold about a liter of fuel at a time, but they can go for a couple hundred miles on that liter. Oh, totally,
Hmm.
man.
Yeah,
100%.
but I think they're like, I know they put out some black smoke at the back, so I'm thinking they're two strokes. They seem like they're but two strokes are more efficient than four strokes, aren't they?
It's
Anyone
yeah.
who knows more about
I
engines,
wouldn't
maybe.
I wouldn't put that. I mean, because the other thing about two strokes is that as a result, you don't have to worry about oiling it. So
Well, that's also, yeah, and maybe not as much cooling either. I don't think they heat up as much. Yeah. So this guy, what do you want to describe what we're looking at here and what's going on and what these guys on the beach do
dude's got a
all
couple
day
of
long?
cages, and he's connected them on his bicycle so that they're so that yeah, no, like he's hauling bananas. If you look, zoom in and look carefully, yeah,
I don't know if I
and
can zoom in. That's as far as I can get, I think,
um,
Rod.
oh, that's fine. And well, if you have a mission to do, you go do your mission.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It will do.
In the meantime, yeah, no, like dude would be coming down the beach, and actually, I noticed too that he's not actually riding. So
No,
there's
the bicycle's
probably
not. The bicycle's used like a cart to transport the goods.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, no, he's just delivering. I'm pretty sure it's I'm pretty sure it's just oh yeah, no, it looks like bananas and papayas and and anything else that they could probably put in that cage there. And yeah, no, I'm reasonably certain that that bag too is probably his score, i.e., the money that he exchanges. So yeah, and what a gorgeous beach too. Is that Cuba? I'm not sure if yeah, you'd have I'll have to wait until he comes back, but yeah, no, it was great. That looks like the water very similar to what when I was swimming in Veradero. Veradero is about 2 hours away from Havana, like 2 hours east. So that's a fair length of the way, actually. I mean, also because again, when we were in Veradero, we took the bus tour, to the Turistas, which I enjoyed that, but I mean, like, it's still kind of like, I mean, like, in retrospect, when you get, I mean, it's fun when you go there the first time, but then it's just kind of like, well, when you go there the first time, suddenly you want to take in all the tourist stuff, you know. But yeah, oh yeah, good night, PvP. Yeah, you have a good one, man. Yeah. But as I said, the first time you go, you'll want to take in all the tourist stuff, But then when you go and you watch, and after you've seen a few tourist shows, then you suddenly realize you're like, well, okay. First of all, the number one thing is that uh, unlike other places, where they tell you, you're like, okay, well, listen, if you get separated from your crowd, you basically, you better go straight here, and we'll meet you here. So, or something like that, and like they don't, whereas like in Cuba, they're just kind of like, all right, no, just go out, just make sure you come here at like 10 o'clock or whatever. They don't because there's no crime in Cuba. There's nothing. No, so hey, Daniel's hot topics. Yeah. Oh, we're doing pretty good, man. Yeah, no, that's Canadian Spider-Man's picture. I wouldn't be surprised if it's from Jamaica, but I don't know, he might have got it from Cuba because it does look like.
No, that's Cuba.
Oh, it is Cuba. Okay. Yeah,
That is
I was going to say
definitely
the beach does look kind of like Veradero.
that is Veradero.
Oh,
Good
okay.
eye,
Yeah.
lad.
Okay.
That
What am I
is
saying?
exactly.
See? Yeah.
I've been, and that's on the north coast of Cuba for those that are unfamiliar.
It
And
is a stupid, gorgeous place to like
it is,
the. I mean, like you go in there and you're just kind of like, is this water? Like you're just like, wow.
dude.
You just become enthralled.
There's there's one beach with the sand that was that white, and the water was that clear and blue.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's one beach in Australia that it reminds me of, and it's the Whit Sunday Islands, in
Yeah.
Australia. It's in Queensland off Airlie Beach, and it's
Yeah.
gorgeous like that.
Yeah.
Yep, fantastic. Yeah, so these are all from Cuba, and I've only got a couple more, Rod,
Oh,
because
okay.
it is like 10 after 1 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
look at that water. Look at that water, Rod. It's
No,
just
man.
gorgeous.
I was in that water, man. Like,
Oh, hey, look, we have good night, PvP, and I heard you say good night to PvP.
yeah. Yeah.
And Daniel's Hot Topics. Hello and welcome. Hey, welcome. And thanks, man. I'm glad you liked that previous picture, and I love Cuba too. So does Rob. I remember okay, you've been to Veradero. Fantastic. And it's
Oh yeah.
Courtney's
No.
Fellowship of Oddballs. Hello and
We.
welcome, Courtney. Hi.
Oh my God. I know. They're probably right beside where we were staying too.
Welcome.
Because
Oh yeah.
were you at a resort?
I was at a resort. Yeah, I can't remember the
Was
name of it, but yes.
the one I was at was called Breezes.
Ooh. You
Good
know what? That
fucking Lord, that does literally look like the bar that I was at. I
hmm
think
Yeah.
it
Maybe. Oh,
just might have been.
in the previous one?
No, the guy right there with the mariachi band.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
looks
man.
that really looks like the bar that's in the Breezes resort. Well, I
Yeah.
think they've changed their name now. I think they're something cocktail or something like that. No, not
Ah, okay.
100%.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
welcome. Thanks for being here. It's
Hey,
Court.
hey, Courtney.
Yeah. And yeah, so always mariachi music. It was fantastic. Loved it.
Oh, totally.
And then and now this a lot of the I mean there is I mean there's no denying there is too a lot of poverty in Cuba.
Yeah.
A lot of the buildings were derelict. Well, derelict
No,
that might be a little too much, but a little run down, you know.
they're not as
What
taken care of as they could be. Agreed.
Yeah, yeah. What's your thoughts on that? Why it's just because of the lack of money, I suppose, isn't it? Or is
Kind
it?
of. It's just simply like, I mean, it's just kind of like, when it drips down to like the bottom. And here's another thing though, is that up until about 2016 or 2017, I believe it was, in case you weren't aware, Cuba actually operated under two currencies. There was their regular currency, and then there was the turista currency, which is what you and I have, which is like the $3 bill.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. But
I don't think
they
I've
have.
seen.
Sorry,
I haven't seen any of the other currency. I've only seen the tourist currency.
they have changed it, and or they've blended them into one currency now because they decided no, okay, we can't do this anymore now.
Okay, and do you know if they call it the peso?
Oh, they still the base peso and everything like that, So
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
But
yeah.
it's it's no longer turista peso and like all that. It's like it's yeah.
Now, having said what you had, that it is a little run down, and now
Mhm.
also maybe they can't import the materials necessary. It's because they have so many trade restrictions with the United States. Maybe they have.
It's
It's
partially
hard to
that.
get. Maybe paint is really expensive and so forth. But as run down as
Paint
maybe
is, as a
this,
matter of fact, a bucket of
yeah.
paint costs $20, which is 1 month. 1 month the universal basic income for somebody in Cuba.
Wow. Um,
So you're right.
oh, is there a UBI in Cuba?
Yep. Everybody gets a $20 a month.
Oh yeah, see, I couldn't live there. I'm not going to do that. But go ahead.
No, no, but that's people. But I mean, like, if you already bring your currency, there's nothing wrong with that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just when you
And
give people stuff for free, they don't take care of it. They abuse it.
mm, I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, because, and I'll tell you why. Um, it doesn't.
You're either taking a really deep thought and long pause, or you may have frozen. And I really wanted to hear what you had to say, Rod. Shit.
Oh, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please finish your sentence. And also, let's talk about how even though this looks run down, there's not a lot of crime. But please finish your sentence about why you don't think people giving stuff for free. You think they'll take care of it, or no? He's doing this for dramatic pauses, folks.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, no, like research has shown that that universal basic income does not lead to laziness. Research has shown that when people's regular needs are met, then their natural curiosity leads them on to building and discovering other things. Their natural curiosity and desire to learn. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying, like, no, I'm totally with that. And like Canada kind of went with that in the well, like during the COVID, but
Yeah,
on the
and
other
look at what happened. Our inflation went through the roof. That's what I'm saying.
but at
UBI
the
is
same
great
time,
until you run out of other people's money. It's a
but at
great
the same time, no, it doesn't
socialism.
work that way because the other people's money comes from the amount of money that remains within an ecosystem, i.e., they all remains the same. It's just how it's spent. People have to remember that. You don't think that money has always been there. It may not have been there for you, but it's always been there. So
As long as they don't print. Yeah, see, what happened during the pandemic is they printed new money that wasn't always there. That's the
did they? I
difference.
mean, like, or was it like always there? And like, honestly, because
The spending. No, they've increased our spending by 30% or something ridiculous. The amount of currency in the Canadian economy has gone way up in the last few years. They printed money like no other government in history. Absolutely. Well, and it's not physically printing because we're only required to have 10% of the physical money in banks at any. It's probably even lower than that now. Maybe it's like
yeah. But
4%.
let's look at it another way. Especially since you kind of inspired me with the whole traveling. I mean, like
Yeah.
there was if it wasn't for mom, I mean, like, and had I really thought about it, because I already had my passport at the time and I need to renew it.
Yeah.
Is that when your basic needs are met, I mean, because this is the other thing, I mean, because like shit, man, Tony Stark just held me just held a fundraiser for me, and I'm like,
Hmm.
and God bless the guy for
Yep.
I hope I
Oh,
don't know if
he's
he's
good
still
like
here. I
that.
hope he
Yeah,
is.
he's
Yeah,
good
like
like that. Yep.
yeah. Anyway, it I mean, like, right now my basic needs are still met and everything like that. So hey, right on, um. But I mean, like, people still, their natural desire and curiosity to learn and do stuff helps, and as a result, they work harder to build and discover stuff. Otherwise, I mean, like, you know, um,
You would, in an ideal world, yeah. In an ideal world, absolutely. Uh, but when you give, like, kids, for example, you give them stuff. If they haven't earned it, they don't take as, I was just talking with my neighbor who his kid was given bicycles and just didn't take care of them because he didn't earn them. So I like earning what I'm given, and I
yeah,
think,
but that lies more on the parent, not the child. what I'm saying is that the parent should need to sit back and say, "Hey, take care of it." I mean, you only get one of these. Do it. I mean, in the very same
That's
way that I mean, like
okay. That's the
I
thing.
mean, in the very same thing as I said about, I mean, you need to teach people. I mean, like, see, that's the other thing. Parents aren't teaching them kids anymore either. That's the other thing. I mean, I saw. Oh, I fucking hate this show. It's called "Children Ruin Everything,"
Oh,
and like,
yeah, they kind of
or
do. But go ahead.
no, no, you're absolutely right. But I mean, on this side of the coin, you could also call it an example of bad parents. Because parents are they're not good parents because they don't want to parent. What they want to do is be their child's best friend.
Best friend,
They don't
right?
want.
Well,
They don't want to parent. I mean, because
no,
no, you
because
have
it's
to fucking
hard.
parent. If you're gonna
It's
have, if you're,
hard.
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna fucking reproduce, I mean, your kid's best impression of you is going to be realizing that my dad made me a good man because he was a good man, not
Yeah,
because my dad wanted to be my best friend because he wanted to be my best friend.
because it was easier. It was easier to be your best friend than and be the nice guy than being a
Then,
disciplinarian.
then to like parent. Like nope,
That's
parents don't want to parent.
so. Even though this does look dilapidated, would you feel scared to walk down the street at 12 midnight, Rod,
Not at all. Not at all.
in Cuba? No,
Mind you, I would not feel scared to walk down anywhere, but I mean, especially in Cuba.
no, neither would I, because I'm pretty fast. But yes, just the crime rate is lower now. Is that because the punishment is so severe? Good question. I don't know.
I think I would just lean towards the fact that most basic needs are taken care of, and then as a result, um, you don't want to do something that would drive the tourists off.
Well, that's the other thing. Oh man, see, this is in Havana. This is in Havana, and
Oh, I know exactly where that is too,
that is
because I've been there.
gorgeous. And I fell in love with these cars. That was amazing.
I wouldn't be
Um,
surprised if those cars belong to the Alo Cabano Car Club.
can you say that again? The a la
The Alu
cubana.
Alu Cabano Car Club.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Again, and like, well, tell you what, when you get you come down here, we'll watch the whole Cuban Chrome.
Dude, I'd love to.
There's 8
Absolutely.
episodes. It's a really good show.
Now, and a lot of these parts, a lot of these cars, you can't get parts for anymore. So the Cubans have to be really ingenious about inventing or manufacturing or fabricating parts that they might
Yes,
need to keep these cars running.
Cuban ingenuity. Yes.
Kivan 6 says, reminds me of a couple of streets in the French Quarter in New Orleans. And we
Huh.
have a good friend, Clobber in Times, who's down in New Orleans. And man, I'd love to go see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, William Shakespeare, you are absolutely correct. These are beautiful machines. Now, see, the only well, now you're saying UBI, you would be dependent on the government for
No.
money. Well, where does the money come? Where does the UBI come from? Who gives you the checks? Who gives you the money?
Well, it's from the government, yes, but I mean, like the
Okay,
point is
so if they wanted, so for example, if Trudeau cutting off truckers' bank accounts, if the government wanted to, they could cut your means of existence. That would make me nervous.
how is that different from or how is that the same as a universal basic income?
Well, because if the government wanted to, they could shut all your money off.
But they don't.
But they could.
You see, Canada has. Cuba doesn't.
Well,
I have
they
not
haven't
seen
they haven't
examples.
yet. I wouldn't feel comfortable. No, I'm not gonna put my balls in someone else's hand. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna rely on the government for all of my money. And if they chose to shut it off, they can. No way.
Yeah, but by the same token, if they chose to shut down healthcare, they could, but they don't.
That's exactly
If they chose to shut
yes.
down education and everything, they could, but they don't. Why do you
Yes.
think that is?
No, but they could,
Why
Rod.
do you suppose that is?
but in Canada they did. There were
I didn't
hospitals that
ask. Yeah, okay,
if you
but
weren't vaccinated,
you're not
they were
asking. You
closed.
okay? But you're
They
not
were
answering my
closed to you.
question. You're not answering my
Why?
question.
Why
If the
don't
Cuban
they?
government,
Why
if the
haven't they
Cuban,
yet?
yeah, that's what I'm
Well,
saying.
how do you know? How do you know that there aren't people in Cuba that the government decides, no, you're not getting health care. Nope, we don't like you. You're not getting a UBI. How do you know that there are people aren't right now in Cuba that are being denied all these services?
Because you would have heard about it, and the other thing is that people would have said something around the and like remember, don't get me wrong. Rob and I we went through the barrios. We went through like we went through like the really most dilapidated. I mean, like walking down the street, and like there's a whole pile of garbage just sitting there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's but everybody seemed to be content, and I mean, like and we remember I told you I went to a barber there, and uh, and uh, I didn't realize that the haircut was free. But
Right. Yeah.
even still, I was happy to give them some money to because in my mind, it's helping jumpstart their economy even further.
Yes. Yeah.
But
That's true.
you know, so I mean, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say you could be right. I'm not disputing you. Yeah, I mean, you could absolutely be right. But I mean, I never heard that. I never got that buzz about that. I mean, because like, why would they do that? I mean, because like it's the very same thing. It's like
Well, if they
if
don't like your political opinions, if they don't like the way you think, it's same as here in Canada. They shut down bank accounts, they shut down businesses if they didn't like the way you
yeah,
think.
but I mean, like
And so
at the same
I'm jumping out
time,
of the frying pan into the fire. Like I want to get out of Canada for that reason, to have freedom of speech, to not have my bank account shut down. Um, I wouldn't
yeah,
want to go to a place where that was no different. Like they don't, but could they if they decided? That would
mhm,
see before I move. So I want to go there and research this and talk to people and find this out. It's like no, they've never done that, or yeah, no, they do that. That's an excellent question. Uh, you know,
yeah,
that's an excellent question. I don't know. Interesting.
that's a good point, Kevon Six. Rod, is it safe to
Ooh,
surmise that the reason UBI works in Cuba is because its exports exceed the imports, bringing in more money to support the UBI there? That's a fair
ooh.
question. I mean, you're,
Yep.
that's absolutely right. And I agree with Captain Finney. Well, that's funny, Captain, because like some people don't like Cuba Gooding anymore, but which is why he's disappeared.
I like him as
Beautiful
an
machines.
actor. I like him as an actor.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with his political opinions, but I definitely agree with. I like his
Hey, right
acting
on.
for sure.
Daniel's Hot Topics has been to Veradero.
Ooh,
Nice.
yeah, I like Verdo. Uh, so yeah, and William Shakespeare Spielberg says, Guys, slight diversion from the conversation. Just wanted to say how much I love the eyelids on those cars. Looks like a lineup of lovely ladies. It does. I
Mhm.
says. Let's go take a look. So this is guys. These are boys that have nailed a chair to a door to use as a basketball net. They
Nice.
punch the bottom out of the chair.
Nice.
Really ingenious. Yeah. The cars do have eyelids. You're right, William Shakespeare Spielberg.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, just playing basketball, using whatever you can. And hey, do you think the kids watching under 35 know what the thing hanging on the wall is, Rod?
Yeah, probably not. We would, but I mean, like,
I think you put a quarter in that and you could call home.
yeah.
That's awesome. And probably when you pick up the receiver, it'll show you the current time. We used to use that in Whistler Resort for
Yeah.
knowing what the time was. Oops, that was the
Yeah.
wrong button. That was the wrong button. Let's
Yeah.
get back to that.
Oof, man, we're rolling down on 3 hours now.
I know. Yeah. Well, I don't have any plans for tomorrow. Do you?
Uh, kind of, but not really. I mean, I do.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
You're gonna go seize the day and wake up and exercise and do crazy early morning running and stuff.
in 2 hours, but I mean, like, I can chat for a little while longer.
Look at the size of Williams Elizabethan ruff. Ooh. Yeah, that is I do like. Yeah, William Shakespeare Spielberg. That's a wicked, wicked avatar. Thank you, Captain Notfinny. I take that as a compliment, sir. I shall tip my tailor in your honor. Thank you. Even Lord Percy would be jealous. Is that now, Lord Percy? That's Blackadder, isn't
Hmm.
it? That's Black.
Uh, I
That is
don't
a
know. I
Blackadder in
mean,
the Elizabethan times. Was that the second series
hmm,
or the first? Oh
not
yeah,
sure.
no, Captain Finley nailed it. Yeah, right there. I'm not wrong. My Lord Blackadder. Could it be true? I have made precious green, my lord. Yep, there you go. That is Blackadder. Bingo. And would you? Ooh, this is interesting. We could discuss this. Do you mind reading this? I think
Yvonne
that
Six
start of
says
yeah,
UBI won't work in the United States or Canada because the import of goods vastly exceeds their gross domestic production and would fail due to economic implosion. Well, we don't know until we
yeah,
try, right?
yeah. I I agree. I well, no, that's. I think we can estimate. We can use economic models, and we can have a good. We can have an educated guess, and I suspect Kevon might be right.
Hmm.
Um, it's. I mean, being in a winter climate, man. I mean, it's you can't grow a lot of your food all year round. It's terrible.
Well, that's a fair point too. But I'm also thinking too. I mean, like, imagine, for example, I mean, like, way up north. I mean, like, a bag of chips costs like just about $7 or $8 up there. Like a good,
In the Yukon, yeah, it did. That's crazy.
So and then like, and it's really because like it's because of the transportation of goods is baked into like the price of the bag of chips or whatever,
Yep.
like, and it's just kind of like, you know
Hmm.
and you know what, I've noticed that even around here. I mean, because like, um I mean, where I live is 45 minutes away from Edmonton, but I mean, like, for example, a little, even just 15-20 minutes west of me, food prices go even higher, and like, I can only imagine. I can't even begin to imagine what people are paying in Warburg. When, like, it's just, oh,
What's where's Warburg? Don't know where
oh,
that
I'm
is.
sorry. What I'm saying is Warburg is like 45 minutes from Leduc, a
Oh,
little bit further west, and then like there's even further west,
Alberta.
further
Yeah,
west.
northern Alberta.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm just saying that, like, when the further away you get from like the big cities, the higher the price of food gets.
you're absolutely right. It does, especially in this country. Yeah.
No,
Ooh,
I mean, yeah. What I'm saying is, like, that's fucking frustrating. How come
it
there's no?
is. Yeah,
How
it
come
is.
nobody has said it, ever even pointed out or said something?
Do you mind reading Kevon Six's awesome tip?
Ruffs were invented to keep food crumbs and makeup from falling on their spiffy clothes.
Okay, that is so cool. I almost think that might be true. It's
By the way,
UBI
I
less
just
than USB-C. Ah, true.
by the way, I
USB-C
mentioned,
is the fastest. Go ahead, Rod.
yeah,
Sorry.
I was going to say, by the way, and since you're holding up a cigar there,
That's the
uh,
last photo that I've got. Yeah.
I'd like you. Funnily enough, I mentioned this before, but I mean, like, I quit smoking, like cigarettes, and I fucking hate. I mean, like, and like, ultimately, even now today, I fucking hate it. But here's the thing: I went to Cuba, and like, I smoked their cigars, their goddamn purest cigars, and it's like, oh my god, in sweet heaven, it's like,
It
I've
spins your head, man. It's a type of. I'm sorry. You're getting high off cigars and tobacco. It
that's
spins
what
your head.
the point is that that's what real tobacco smoke is supposed to taste like. I mean, that's an example of. I mean, that's basically telling you, it's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing here in North America? All you goddamn Cuba,
Yeah.
all you cigar smoking assholes. What the fuck? And why would you want to be smoking that shit anyways when you got a goddamn good box of Cubans?
Exactly.
You know.
Do
And
you
by the
mind?
way, just
Yep.
just another quick thing I just wanted to say too. I mentioned this before, but I'm going to say it again. Do not go to the turista stores to buy your cigars. Always talk to your cab driver or
Hmm.
your concierge or the people who clean your room and say,
Exactly.
hey, hey, can I buy some cubanos, like some, and shit. And now I'm spacing on the name too. Uh, no, I mean, because there's a brand certain that's specifically made for Castro, because they'd
Oh.
heard of the CIA trying to assassinate Cuba
Hmm.
with exploding cigars or poisonous cigars. So then there was a brand that was literally curated especially for um, uh, Castro and um, um, and and as a result, like it became a brand that was basically the leading brand of Cuba. But like, there's other brands too that are also sub brands to that. But like, they're also like, you know, again, I, I'd quit smoking, but like, I went down there and I was like, oh well, I'm in Cuba, I gotta have a cigar. Yeah, why not? And I just kind of, oh dear sweet God in heaven, and I just kind of, and then of course too, like, and by the way, guess who teaches you how to puff a cigar?
Who's that?
You would never believe it. J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man 1967.
No way. That's
Because
awesome.
remember that one point where he's like,
That
there's
is
one
awesome.
show, where like Peter Parker is talking to him about something or other, and like he's sitting there and like he's sit there, he's holding the cigar in his mouth, and he's going like, and like, so it might look odd or funny to somebody watching the animation or whatever, but like the
Yeah.
animation is doing it correctly, and what is he's like he's taking a quick puff, like he's going, but then also he's like, right, but he's going like,
Hmm.
like he's going, and that's exactly how you're supposed to smoke a cigar, because that's
I
how cigars are. Cigars are not cigarettes. They're not giant cigarettes. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
You're supposed to, like suck in briefly and then blow. You don't even inhale it into your lungs. Because the other
No,
thing too
that's
is
it.
like,
It's just into your mouth. You're
yeah,
filling your mouth cavity
yeah, it's supposed to be like,
with the smoke. Yeah. You're just a
yeah,
short in it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That's kind of
And
cool.
I got the taste from it. I'm like, oh my god, how come I've never tasted this before? And I'm just kind of like, this is I've tasted North American cigars. They're rot. They're just ugh. But like Cuban cigars, I'm like, oh my god, and man,
Da-
oh god, and
Daniel,
but
go ahead.
it's and like also like I've been to, like I said, been to pipe ceremonies too, and like they grow regular natural tobacco, not from uh, a corporation or a company. They just have their own tobacco that they grow themselves, and like that's exactly how it tastes.
With no antifreeze or yeah
Yeah, exactly.
preservatives. But that
Yeah.
Daniel's Hot Topics asks, "That's a nice Cuban cigar. How was it?" Uh, I didn't smoke it then. I took three of them back to Canada, and my dad and I went on a canoeing trip, just he and I, and we smoked one of them there. And I remember it was kind of like you're describing, Rod. Excuse me, excuse me, I got a cough here.
Hmm. Oh,
Um, it was it was a pure, like it wasn't a chemical taste. It was
no, that's right.
I've never I'd never bought cigarettes. I'd never smoked cigarettes in my life. Never had the money or desire. I was always a runner, right? So I never did
Yeah,
that. But
yeah, no, me too.
um, I mean, I know from the smell of tobacco, I can imagine what a cigarette tastes like, and I do know that from the cigars, uh, that cigar was not. There was no chemical taste. There was no, um, you know,
Exactly.
artificial taste. It was a very earthy, woody tobacco, just
Yeah.
pure flavor. And I did accidentally inhale, and got the head spins like you wouldn't believe. And here I am sitting with my dad, first time smoking a cigar. I'm like, I don't know,
Mhm.
40, I guess, or just about 40 at this age. And yeah, trying to, I knew that I had inhaled too much and I had the head spins, and here I am trying to like maintain
Mhm.
being, straight conversation with my dad camping. Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
not trying to show just how wrecked I was from that. Do you mind reading our friend Captain's?
Yeah, sure. Captain Notfinity says, I gave up smoking cigarettes. Yeah, obviously it means you're still smoking cigars.
Yeah, and well, the opium is just so Moorish. Uh, I guess he means he smokes opium instead of cigarettes. I guess, yeah. Cohobas. No, these were not cohobas. I want to say
Cohibas, that's the why that.
cohibas. Yes.
Yeah.
No, these were not cohibas. I want to say Romeo and Juliet.
No, you know what
There's
that is? I'm pretty sure.
Rose.
I'd almost guarantee you that's a robusto.
A Robusto. Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Yep.
maybe it was. Yeah, I did also buy some Romeo and Juliets. They were smaller and cheaper
Yeah.
because you can get a wide when you're shopping for cigars in Cuba. You can get a wide variety. So,
Did you
um,
see the dude who's rolling the world's largest cigar?
no, I have not. Where's
No,
that?
it's in the. Did you see that? There's the fort that's in Havana.
Yes, I did. Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yeah,
See,
yeah.
yeah,
Right on the ocean, right overlooking the ocean. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's where the
Where
dude is that's
the
rolling
waves
the
hit.
cigar.
Okay,
Yeah.
because yeah, the waves are constantly bashing up against the side of the fort there, and
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Ooh, a nice military vehicle in the background. Yes, it is. Ooh, okay.
Hmm.
You think so? Soviet Su-85, originally World War II era, I believe. Well, thank you, Captain.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah.
I do you know that I have no idea. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with tanks as I should. I'm not as familiar with tanks as I really want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love machines, man. I love machines and tanks, and even though it's a military weapon, I'm still intrigued with the machinery of it. Can you read our friend Kivon's message,
Yeah.
Rob?
Cuban Six says the best Cuban cigars are rolled green and allowed to naturally age before smoking. Oh yeah, no, that's mellow, herbal, nice, never harsh. Exactly. Yep.
Beautiful, excellent. Now, funny with these cigars that I brought back to Canada because our flight, uh, because our flight passed through the states. I thought we'd have a big problem with bringing through the cigars, but
No,
honestly,
no.
they didn't, because we're Canadians, and we didn't really leave the secure area. I think our bags were just taken from the plane and put right onto the next one, and yeah, there was no
Why
issue
did
there.
you? Where did you transfer?
As well, I bought cigars, and I think we transferred in. Mm, where the hell would that have been? It might have been Newark. I think we transferred in
Really?
Newark, New Jersey. Yeah,
Really? Because
somewhere like
again,
that.
I mean, like
Was it South? Was it Texas? No, I've never been to Texas. It wasn't Texas.
the 3 times I went, the very first time I went, I flew out to Ontario,
Yep.
and we had a layover for 7 hours, and like, but by the time everything was said and done, it was like less than six. So we just rented a room for just they were actually really kind enough to rent us for like not even the night, so like, you know uh
You went to a
well
hooker hotel. You
well
went to
there
a
were
love hotel.
no, because we were in Toronto, so like it was like the biggest airport in Canada, I believe
Yeah,
it is.
Pearson. Yeah.
and
Yep.
and yeah, and then the funny thing is, like, we went across the way to like the Hotel Sheridan, and then they're kind of like 300 a night. Everyone's like, what?
Ooh.
We laughed right in their faces, like, what?
Yeah, it's not gonna
Like,
happen.
and,
That
and like
flight
for
was less than that.
yeah, so it's like for 6 hours, what? And they're just going, yeah, well, that's all. And like, and I just tell them, no, no, thank you very much. And then we both made a point of laughing in their faces and making sure that everybody saw. And we're like,
Yep.
for 6 hours? No way.
No.
And then we just walked off. And then then we just curious and we just looked around. And then actually we found a smaller one. I think it was like Holiday Inn or something. And they were very like, holy crap! They only gave like it was like only like 100, not even that, like $50 each, and because we were staying barely half a night, and they were just kind of like, and because like which obviously means that they've had to do this before, you know. So they were just kind of like, oh no, $50, like it's, I mean, shit, you probably won't even make your beds. You probably just lie on them, and well,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
We won't even.
yeah, and that's just it. And like we pretty much just like plop laid on the bed, and also like, well, oh, okay, well, we better hurry up and get going, and like, yeah, no, and then we called a cab and like went to, and it was only like about 1.5, 2 kilometers away.
Okay. Oh, nice. Excellent.
Yeah,
That's super convenient.
yeah, and then we went through the Pearson Airport, and then like our luggage and everything was already on the plane, so like, and then we took off.
But where
And
did
then
now where? But you didn't go direct to
yeah,
Cuba.
we did,
Really?
yeah. And then when
Huh.
we went, and then the
Not
other
from
two times,
Vancouver.
yeah,
No,
and then the
well,
other
I guess Vancouver's farther, isn't it? So
probably.
maybe that's why we had to stop.
But here's the thing: the
Hmm.
other two times I went, we basically it was WestJet. Well, okay, one was WestJet, and then one was Sunwing. Oh yeah, no, they were both Sun.
I like Sunwing. They give you champagne as soon as you're in the air.
Yeah,
They know everyone's on vacation, right?
yeah. So we went, but yeah, no, like we went Sunwing, and like they Calgary direct
Okay.
to
Wow.
direct to Veradero Airport.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, we
So
had a
yeah,
stop.
no, and it was 4 hours too. 4 hours.
Nice. That's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh shit. You know what? I didn't fly from Vancouver.
Oh.
I was on the East Coast, I think.
Okay.
I was back home visiting my parents. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but fantastic. I mean, I had a great experience with Sunwing Airlines every time. It's as soon as you take off, they know everyone on the plane is on vacation, that they break out the champagne. Yeah, it's a festive mood. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Rod, we are approaching 3 hours, my friend.
Yeah, we are.
It is damn near 2 in the morning here.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for oh well, okay. Well, folks, I guess Rod has oh no, okay.
Accidentally hit back. I didn't even wasn't even trying to, and also like I was just like, okay, let's see who's in the chat.
Oh my god, I didn't mean literally. We were ending right now. That was funny, Rod. It's like, oh, okay. I guess
know.
Rod thought we were finished.
That's what I was thinking. Oh, geez, he's probably sitting there like, oh, Rod, I said I was going to leave him, or I decided, okay, I'm going to go.
That's hilarious.
I knew better.
Yeah, those are gorgeous cars. Gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being here, Rod. And
no, it was a spice, and like it was cool. I'm glad you I mean, like, hey, let's stream tonight.
And it was, and you know what, Rod? I like I said, we definitely we cover all kinds of topics here, and you and I have different perspectives. I respect your opinion. It's not the same as mine on a lot of things.
Yeah.
I know you respect my opinion. And
Yeah.
you know what? If it turns out that uh, am wrong about something, like I said, I change my opinion and we can discuss it again. And I'm happy to rehash discussions with someone that is at any time on my channel respectful and just willing to listen to the other side. And I got to say, Rod, you are a great listener, man. You're a great listener.
Thank you. You too.
Oh, I can always use improvement, but I appreciate you saying that. And you know what? I really hope that no matter what the past with with free speech in this country is, I really hope that we at least
I'm with you.
preserve free speech, man.
Hmm.
It, you know, we've got enough existing laws against it, and I just want to live
Yeah.
somewhere where you can be free to speak your mind as long as you're not being
Yeah.
malicious or causing harm against anyone else.
Yeah.
You can be an asshole. Like I said, if someone is screaming about, you know, if someone's a racist or a bigot or is screaming things that are absolutely offensive,
Hmm.
absolutely horror or horrendous, don't censor
Hmm.
them. Give the
Yeah.
stupid bastard a megaphone. Give them a microphone so we can all hear how dumb they are. And I know we can identify them. You know, don't
Oh,
censor them.
absolutely.
Let the whole world hear
Absolutely.
what an idiot they are. If someone wants to rail on about. Anyway, good night, everyone. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Oh, Susan Dolan has an interesting thing. Most military equipment in Cuba comes from the Soviet Union. The USSR
Yeah. Yeah.
spent millions of rubles a day to prop up old Fidel. No kidding.
Yeah.
I wonder if Justin Trudeau got any of that money. Great 3 hours. Thanks, Kevon 6.
Yeah.
Thank you, Captain. Live long and prosper. Thanks for coming out tonight, guys. Everyone in the chat still hanging out. Hey, thanks, William. I appreciate it. And all right, good night, folks. Good night, Miskatonic
Yep.
Man. Thanks for being here, everyone. Everyone is welcome to their opinion here, and if I disagree with your opinion, I will fight for your right to say it. Because I don't agree in censorship at all. Don't agree
Yeah.
with censorship.
Yeah.
And you never know. You might just change my mind, even if I disagree with you. You might.
Yeah.
I've been wrong on so much before growing up, Rod. Holy shit. We should do a stream one night. Like, I want to ask you what
Mm.
opinions and beliefs you held when you were 25 and how you feel about those things now, and what
Oh,
changes.
completely not even
Com-
close to the.
it's a 180
Mind you,
flip, isn't it? It's a
mind
180
you,
flip. But that's another
yes
stream.
and no. I mean, like it's. I mean, because I still kind of pull for the NDP, but I mean, like ultimately, I still like. At this point, though, like too, like there is still sort of some part where you're just kind of like, I don't fucking care about anybody. I mean, and there's nobody worth voting for. I'm just like, fuck off. You know,
If a smart German Shepherd ran for office, I might vote for him
maybe, yeah, yeah,
because he's loyal. He's loyal. Anyway, Rod, thanks for being here. Thanks,
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
Yeah,
Likewise, yeah.
I think it's a good note to wrap up on. A loyal German Shepherd. Nothing better to wrap up on that. I like dogs, don't you, Rod?
Oh, totally, man. Yeah.
Have a wonderful night, Daniel. Everybody, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Good night.
Night.
End stream. Yeah, I think we should. It's
Yeah.
been a
Right
good
on.
night.
Oh.